Oh, I didn't unmute my mic. So we're gonna be watching the debate tonight, everybody. I have my drink ready, and if it gets worse, we're gonna have to do to that. But if we go back, so this is the drinking game. So you drink if Trump gets a leading or unfair question, drops a thug life moment. For instance, if he brings up something really wild. So, for instance, if Biden were to complain about the way crime is policed in this country, and then Trump were to go, you wrote the crime bill. That's what it would be talking about. We'll also go to China or fake news. You have to drink. That should be a pretty big one. Gets a softball question. I'm not expecting a ton of that, but it's certainly a possibility. If he has a dementia moment, that's something else that we're gonna look at, or we're gonna drink for. Talks tough, for instance, if he makes a physical threat towards Trump, that'd be funny. But yeah, that we're gonna drink for that. And then if he says, "Come on, man," it'll be a drink for that as well. So that is what we're looking at in terms of the debate. Pretty exciting stuff. I'm gonna see if I can't get. 1 second. I'm gonna see. Oh. See if I can't get. Supposed to have someone coming on to talk with us here. All right. So it's funny about that documentary here. We don't need to listen to a Disney Plus commercial. But so what's funny about that documentary is actually that, there's a case to be made that there is a rise in white nationalism and far right ideas in the United States. However, it's still a very, very small segment of the population. I believe the ADL or the SPLC, one of the two, came out with a study estimating about 10 to 20,000 people in the United States believe these far right ideas about racial supremacy. So, I mean, I get that because it's on the rise, and especially because they're acting out, they're being more public. It is concerning, but at the same time, there are far worse threats right now to the United States than the far right. See what's going on here. Give me some issues. Just make sure everything sounds fine on here. Do 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 do. Guess I gotta go to YouTube actually. So check out. I was trying to go to YouTube Studio, but apparently that wasn't good enough. Okay, let's see. So that seems to be working. Let me just check and make sure. It gets worse. We're gonna have to do that. But if we go back, so this is the drinking game. So you drink if Trump gets a leading or unfair question, drops a thug life moment. For instance, if he brings up. Okay, we're not getting any kind of desktop audio. Okay, that's a problem. Why are we not getting any desktop audio? That's confusing. Okay, huh. Let's see.
Targeting this election, George.
And how exactly are they doing it so far?
The primary thing is that they're
go.
putting out negative information about Joe Biden. Some of it concerns his health. The goal, according to my sources, appears to be
it's
to
working.
suppress
Fantastic.
his vote and to motivate Trump voters.
Fantastic.
One of the other things we're seeing, I want to bring in Dan Abrams. We know
right.
President Trump is going to bring up his belief that the election is rigged. He's been raising all these warnings about mail-in ballots. Let's get some facts on the table.
Yeah, and that's going to put Joe Biden in a bit of a tough spot, right? Because the president will make allegations about voter fraud. He'll cite examples where he'll say, you know, these ballots were found in a garbage, this happened and that happened. And then Joe Biden has to make a fundamental decision, which is, am I going to get into, well, you know, you appointed this commission and that commission investigated in Florida and this one is a national commission and none of them found systemic voter fraud. Biden's in a tough spot in the sense of trying to distinguish systemic voter fraud that could actually impact the election, from isolated examples. And
So,
again and again,
I'm gonna pause him right there and talk about this a little. I'm not gonna pause him. I'm gonna mute him real quick. So the problem isn't necessarily systemic voter fraud. So I mean, even if you were not to have widespread voter fraud, a lot of people aren't old enough to remember this, but Bush v. Gore, the election in Florida was decided by fewer than 1,000 votes. There are, I believe, 23 million people living in the state of Florida. It was decided by under 1,000 votes. So even if it wasn't some widespread voter fraud scheme, there's still a lot that you have to look into, especially with a lot of these battleground states like Florida, Virginia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin. All these states, you have to be careful when you're talking about the difference between systemic and individual cases of voter fraud, because if there are enough individual cases, then yeah, it could actually impact the election. Because again, in a close state like Florida's very close right now in terms of polling, you run into the issue where it's very, very possible that you get, you know, maybe 1,000, which would be a very, very, very small percentage of the population. But if you have 1,000 individual cases of voter fraud, and maybe not systemic, but you get 1,000 individual cases of voter fraud, then that actually raises the probability that it will impact the election. And currently, there's no decent argument against that that I can see. And when you're talking about high integrity versus low integrity voting, and it's not about the integrity of the individual, it's about the integrity of the system you're using. So low integrity voting would be like universal mail-in voting, because everyone is sent a ballot whether or not they request it or not, and then and then they're then required to fill it out and then send it back. The problem with that is a lot of voters don't update their registration. So then you end up in a situation where people are receiving ballots from those who might be deceased, could have moved out within the past few years. There's numerous reasons why someone would receive an extra ballot. In fact, it happened to Tim Pool this year. So it's a tough issue. It's a very tough issue. But yeah, so I mean, when you're talking about voter fraud, that's something you have to look into. I see Jared's on Discord, but I don't see him talking.
I did not want to interrupt your monologue. That was incredible.
How you doing? Everybody, this is Jared. Even though there's like 2 people watching the stream.
Very nice. Zach, that was the most educated and thought out monologue that I've ever heard in my entire life.
One second, incredible. I gotta fix something with Discord. 1 second.
Nice.
Voice and video. Need to go to there. Okay.
He's not.
Okay, I fixed it. So, are you playing the drinking game, Jared?
Yeah, can you explain the rules a little bit better for me?
Okay, so I'll explain it again because I did it at the beginning of the stream, but it doesn't hurt anything. So, if Trump gets a leading or unfair question, for instance, if Chris Wallace were to ask him a question like, Donald Trump, 200,000 Americans have died in the coronavirus. Don't you think you could have done better in order to stop the disease? Like, that's a leading or unfair question because you're already implying that he did a bad job. If you drink if Trump drops a thug life moment, for instance, if Joe Biden starts complaining or brings up the topic of the systemic racism in the police force and the way that crime is policed in the United States, if Trump goes, you wrote the bill, the 1984 Crime Act, that would be dropping a thug life moment. Because Joe Biden wrote the 1984 crime bill. And then you also have to drink if Trump says China or fake news. Just the word China. China. Okay? He says China. All right? So you also have to drink if Biden gets a softball question. Like, if Biden get asked, why did you decide to run for president? That's a softball. Because it doesn't talk anything about, like, what his specific policies, why you should vote for him. It's why do you want to run? So it's a softball question. Yeah, if it's a stupid question or a question that gives him an easy answer, that's a softball. If he has a dementia moment where he starts to stutter and loses his train of thought in the middle of a sentence, you drink. If he talks tough, for instance, if he makes a physical threat, because he does that a lot when he gets angry, you have to drink. And then you also have to drink if he says, come on, man. You have to drink. And then bonus, it says finish drink if Trump mentions Hunter Biden, but we're going to go for a shot. If Trump mentions Hunter Biden, you got to do a shot. All right, so that's what's going on there. ABC's just running commercial for their show. I'll be right back, Jared. I'm going to go get 2 or 3 beers in here to prepare.
Good idea.
And then it's all up to you how you want to entertain the stream while I'm gone. It'll be like 30 seconds.
I don't know. I'm not very entertaining. How do we entertain? I don't really know how old you guys are or anything, but gotta get hammered. Be a good time. Got a little bit of a head start on Zachy Poo. Should be pretty fun. Yeah, I'll put some of that dressing on there. I forgot to mute the microphone.
All right.
Zach, I gotta be honest with you.
3 beers.
I gotta be honest, I
Off
wasn't very
screen, so you
entertaining.
can't see them. Don't ban me, YouTube. So what'd you do while I was gone, Jared?
I wasn't very entertaining.
Oh, okay.
I told them that I had a head start on Zachy Poo. That's about it.
Yeah.
I also told my mother to put dressing on her sandwich.
I invited
You
Zane.
invited Zane?
I invited
Oh,
Zane to come
God.
in here.
Oh, God. Can't wait, dude. I love Zane so much. Dude. Oh, that's incredible. Zach, are you wearing a tie?
I'm not wearing a tie. I'm wearing a t-shirt and a libertarian-themed hat.
Is it red or blue?
My hat?
Your shirt.
It is blue.
Wait, what? It's very
Why?
interesting.
It's got little anchors on it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a red tie.
Are you actually wearing a tie?
Yes. I'm also wearing an orange t-shirt as a wig.
Mm-hmm.
And
those personal
that spray
attacks.
tans my body.
Tom Yama showed us the battleground states. Joe Biden doesn't want any unforced errors tonight.
Yeah.
President Trump, we know that Abiyatak, he's very
dude.
comfortable in that role. He showed it 4 years ago with Hillary Clinton. The test
Yeah,
for the
dude.
president, I believe, tonight.
I'm getting all
is
into this
how does he
today.
get this country
Also,
through
all
this
that was a
pandemic,
lie.
months more
All that
of this,
was a lie.
and what does the country look on the other side of this?
I have been
What
eating
is his
Hungry Howard's
vision for the
pizza
next
though. It's
4
pretty.
years
Oh wait, we
instead
have to
of the
pay
attacks
ads.
on our
We have to
weapons?
pay ads.
And
Oh
time and
God.
time again, we've seen
Am I allowed to
Trump
drop
attack
brands,
Biden's
Zach?
mental
I don't know how
acuity,
streams
so
work.
is he gonna be
No,
able
you're
to
fine.
prove him
You can
wrong?
say you're
And
drinking a Hungry
contrary to what
Howard's
the
pizza.
campaign has said, is he going to try to
drinking.
fact-check Trump in
Or
real
eating a
time?
Hungry
Chris,
Howard's
you help
Howard's
us
pizza.
prepare for this debate. What's
I'm
Sorry,
drinking
I
a Hungry
started
Howard's
early
pizza.
tonight, boys.
Trump
Oh,
on
God.
offense on the issues. He does that
So if
on a
Biden
good
says
night.
something like that, I'm chugging my beer. Is that right?
Confident, steady Joe Biden. We know that this is not about.
Yeah, I don't know if I have very many beers.
And people know who
Biden
Trump
starts.
is. And
I went and
so
bought
the look is higher
a
for
15
Biden.
pack of
If he appears
Keystone
weak,
Ice.
unfortunately, he might lose
Oh,
some people.
Keystone
So I hope he
Ice.
just stays focused, short and steady
Oh
presidential.
no!
I didn't want to spend
I
a
think
lot of
that
money
he
on
needs
it
to go out
because
and make the case that he has done
I don't
a
care.
good
You should have
job
said.
in a
You should have got
pandemic.
Keystone Light.
His biggest
Keystone
challenge
Ice
is
has
more
alcoholic.
been
It's more
his
fun.
Uncertainty
Yeah,
at the
but it also
podium, his
tastes
combativeness
terrible.
At the podium. When you look at what the administration
Oh,
has done,
yeah, that's
starting in
true.
March,
That's fair.
That's
therapeutics,
not good, yeah.
vaccine,
I'm drinking
PPE,
Miller Lite.
He's done okay.
Rahm Emanuel?
That's
You know, in
pretty
2016, Donald Trump.
And
was
for my
the
shot,
instrument
if
of
I
change.
so have
And
to,
people's anger,
it will
he was
be
gonna that
Rumpel.
instrument. If all he
I've
is
got,
is anger
Mount
and
Gay
comes right after Joe
Barbados
Biden with
rum.
nothing to say but his anger,
Very
that is one
interesting.
gear, fifth
I should
gear,
go get my
he'll
bottle
lose
of
this-
Rumpel.
he'll
I
lose
shall
this
do
debate
that.
And then lose this election.
Let me-
Because tonight's his last stand.
Let me ask you a question.
Pardon me?
asked Kate earlier. Which of those
Zach, have you ever had Rumpel?
should President?
I've
should
never even
Joe
heard of
Biden let
Rumpel.
go? Which ones must?
It's
be
peppermint
I think at the
liqueur.
end of the day, he's got to say what it's.
Oh,
Look, I can
sounds
say whatever
kinda
you
gay.
want about your family. You can
It's
say whatever
not.
you
It's
want about
100
your family,
proof.
but this
It's
is
very
Oh,
good.
yikes.
American people and their
Never
families.
mind.
He's got to
What the heck?
New Hampshire Blue
It's
Plains.
incredible.
The hits on me are nothing like
What
the
is
hits your
this?
kids
I
are
don't
gonna
even
take
know what
unless we
proof
turn
this
this country
is.
around. It's their kids, their future. Don't make it about two guys just fighting
Oh, it's
about
80
themselves.
proof.
Go to
Oh,
the American
boy.
people, right to the
You want a
kid.
shot? Anybody want a
Say,
shot?
this is your fight, and I want that fight for you.
Matthew Dowd?
Boring.
I think
How?
how Joe Biden handles the disruptive force. That
Zach,
is
how many
Donald
people
Trump,
are
the bull
watching
in the
this
China
stream
shop.
right
And
now?
I think if he picks one or two moments as that disruptive force comes at him, acts calm in the interim, but picks one or two moments and forcibly pushes back on the bull that's going to
One.
be wrecking the China shop.
Oh,
at the debate
great.
tonight. That's what I'm looking at.
Love that.
George Snyder,
High caliber audience.
I think it's who comes across as the divider in chief, who
Oh,
comes
yeah.
across as the uniter in chief.
Oh, it's gonna be getting
And
wild.
Martha Raddatz, I'm going to put you on the spot.
I'm currently watching some kind of
This would
eating
be tonight. What
show.
would be- what
Guy
would be
ate
the
a
first question? What do you
14-pound
think his
cheeseburger in
first
4
question would be?
minutes.
Well, I think you have to ask.
Debate
about
starts
the
in
tax
2
story.
minutes.
That's the most recent
Hey,
bombshell.
can you turn on the
So I
debate?
think
Starts in 2
that's
minutes.
what you have to ask, and then you move on after
Oh,
that.
no.
I think we know that
This is
Donald
going to
Trump
run
will be
over. It's going to go to
combative. The line
OT.
that hit me from Donald Trump Jr. was that his father has to be his father. I don't think you'll really see a different Donald Trump tonight. I think you'll see
That
the
burger
Mayor's
had
on
Texas toast
2016
and a
as well
bun.
being combative.
What kind of world do we live in?
I think the key here is
That is
going to be
incredible.
how much Joe
Zach,
Biden
have you ever had the
engages with the
cheeseburger
president's,
where
attacks
like
on
the
him? We
bread
know they're
is
gonna be
grilled cheeses?
personal. It's going to be about his
I
son.
think so, yeah.
It's not going to just be about his record.
Isn't that called a fresco?
Incredible.
What
A
he
fresco
says.
burger?
It's going to be
No,
how
it's
he says
wait,
it.
maybe.
Is he
That
calm?
might be.
Is he pithy? Key
I don't know
issues.
the name of it. All I know is that it's very good.
You know, Democrats aren't always great at placing the Supreme Court.
I don't like the fact that this guy's wearing a Hawaiian shirt.
Because of the circumstances, I think there's no avoiding talking about the Supreme Court, about the
Pretty
future
sure
of
he's in
legal
Colorado.
abortion in
That
this
doesn't
country,
make any sense
about
at all.
the future of health care, and the Supreme
Oh.
Court's at the center of all of
He's
those
in Florida?
issues.
That makes
Terry
sense.
Moran, you get the last 15 seconds.
Each candidate has a personal.
Isn't he supposed to eat the French fries?
Joe Biden too old, too feeble. A lot of
No.
voters wonder about that. Is
I feel like that shouldn't be optional.
president, or is he just a Twitter troll?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's a pansy,
Questions on the
dude.
table tonight. We are just 15 seconds away now from the first.
What's
presidential
wrong with
debate
this
of
country?
2020. That is the scene in Cleveland, Ohio. We'll be right back.
This guy. Oh god. I can't wait for this dude.
You're that excited? I'm watching the ABC news coverage.
Are we watching ABC? What channel is this?
We're in the battle for the soul of this nation.
With so much on the line.
Yeah, ABC news coverage. Love that.
At no time before.
Thank you.
Zach, am I allowed to curse on the stream?
You can, just try not to do it too much.
Fantastic. Let me know if I do it too much.
That's all on the ballot.
Face to face. The main event starts
Oh, I'm gonna.
right now. The first
My family said no cursing. Oh, it's gonna happen.
live from Case Western Reserve University. And
Trying to figure out a
Cleveland
better
Clinic
place
in
to put
Ohio
my.
and New York City.
Huh?
Reporting Chief Anchor George Stephanopoulos.
Good evening. Welcome back to our special coverage of this first presidential debate.
I
Just
doubt
moments
it.
away now. Donald Trump and Joe Biden will take the stage for 90
Will
minutes.
candidates
Topics
do
on the
it?
table.
It's so weird that there's only two candidates.
Anything tonight to change the course of this race.
So strange. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, there should be. They should have let libertarian candidate up there, but you know.
Yeah, 4 years ago, there was like 140 candidates.
Well, that's because that was a primary.
Oh, that makes sense. Zach, I don't know anything about politics. All I know is that this is gonna be comedy.
George, Donald Trump goes
I really need Zane to get in the Discord. I need that to happen.
every publicly available measure. He is losing.
If anybody's gonna say too many swear words, it'll be Zane.
I don't know about that.
Really?
He
I don't
needs
know.
to change the dynamic of this race, and tonight is the best chance for him to do it. He's been here before. 4 years ago, his campaign was collapsing, and he turned it around in part with a debate and going
Oh, boy.
relentlessly and ruthlessly on the attack. I expect that is what he will try to do tonight.
Okay, John Carl, Mary Bruce also in Cleveland covering the Biden campaign. Joe Biden has been here before as well.
I feel like
Not at the
Fortnite
top of
would have
the
been more
ticket, but
fun.
He has had two vice presidential debates.
This
in the
is
general election
your
season.
country, Jared. You have to care.
I mean, I care, but I feel like these two morons aren't gonna help him.
Like Donald Trump. He said all he has to do to win here tonight is tell the truth, but it is not going to be that simple. Joe Biden knows that Donald Trump is going to make this personal. He is going to go on the attack. Joe Biden's goal and his challenge here tonight is to try
Who
and
is
rise above
this
that,
that
to
just
not get
followed me on
dragged down into
Instagram?
some brawl with the president. Biden will fight back if the president misconstrues his record, if he goes after his family, but don't expect Joe Biden
If you
to
got
spend
a
lot of
follow
time
from me and
fact-checking
I
the
don't know
president.
you, it
Instead,
wasn't
he wants
me.
to speak directly to the American people. He wants tonight to be about the issues. He's going to hit the president on taxes, on his business record, and especially in the midst of this pandemic, on health care, George.
And we saw Joe Biden release his tax returns today, Mary.
He did. Joe Biden trying to get ahead, trying to draw clear
Dude,
contrast.
we're
trying to
3
set the
minutes late.
tone
What is
for the
going
debate
on?
to come. He did release his tax returns today for last year, drawing a sharp contrast with the president and that blockbuster New York Times reporting. Joe Biden, we now know, last year paid about $300,000 in federal income taxes. We still don't know what the president paid because he has not released his tax returns yet. It is likely to be the first question here, George.
The moderator,
God, I
Chris
hope
Wallace, is
not.
on the stage right now. He's outlined 6
I hope the
topics for
tax
debate,
returns aren't
starting
brought
out
up
with
the first
from
thing.
the Trump and Biden records,
Yeah, that
economy,
would suck.
COVID, Supreme Court, race and
Answers,
violence, election
yeah, I don't
integrity.
know, buddy.
Let's go to
That's
Chris
what the
Wallace.
answer's going to be.
Well, the tax return thing's actually kind of funny. Chris Wallace is about to start, so I guess I'll shut up. I'll say the tax return thing for later if it comes up.
Good evening from the Health Education campus of Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic. I'm Chris Wallace of Fox News, and I welcome you to the first of the 2020 presidential debates between President Donald J. Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. This debate is sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates. The commission has designed the format, 6 roughly 15-minute segments with 2-minute answers from each candidate to the first question, then open discussion for the rest of each segment. Both campaigns have agreed to these rules. For the record, I decided the
I don't
topics
think anyone's going to follow
and the
any of these rules.
questions in each topic. I can assure you,
Oh, it's going to
none of the
devolve
questions
quickly.
has been shared with the commission
I'm expecting.
or the 2 candidates.
Well, Joe Biden's been
This
devolving
debate
for
is being
80
conducted
years,
under
so
health and safety protocols designed by the Cleveland Clinic,
I expect the
which
same
is serving
result
as
from
the
this
health
debate.
security advisor to the commission for all 4 debates. As a precaution, both campaigns have agreed the candidates will not shake hands.
There's
at
Trump
the
people in the
beginning of
crowd. There's going
tonight's
to be some
debate.
cheering. I can probably
Yeah, I
do
didn't
that.
expect. Here's the thing: I didn't expect them to shake hands regardless, but they're not going to shake hands because of the health commission. Apparently, I didn't expect them to shake hands regardless, but that's an interesting little tidbit.
No noise
I don't
except
think so.
right now, as we welcome the
The
Republican
man.
nominee, President Trump.
Dude, his hair
and the
looks
Democratic
terrible,
nominee,
and
Vice
Joe Biden
President
looks like a mummy. What is going on? Oh, God.
Oh boy, this could get interesting, boys.
Dude, I feel the arrogance just radiating through my television screen.
Gentlemen, a lot of people have been waiting for this night, so let's get going. Our first subject is the Supreme Court. President Trump, you nominated Amy
Oh, I'm glad
Coney Barrett
they're
over
going with the
weekend
Supreme
to
Court first.
succeed the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the court. You say the Constitution is clear about your obligation and the Senate's to consider a nominee to the court. Vice President Biden, you say that this is an effort by the president and Republicans to jam through an appointment and what you call an abuse of power. My first question to both of you tonight, why are you right in the argument you make and your opponent wrong? And where do you think a Justice Barrett would take the court? President Trump, in this first segment, you go first, 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chris. I will tell you very simply, we won the election. Elections have consequences. We have the Senate, we have the White House, and we have a phenomenal nominee, respected by all, top academic, good in every way, In fact, some of her biggest endorsers are very liberal people from Notre Dame and other places. So I think she's going to be fantastic. We have plenty of time. Even if we did it after the election itself. I have a lot of time after the election, as you know. So I think that she will be outstanding. She's going to be as good as anybody that has served on that court. We really feel that. We have a professor at Notre Dame, highly respected by all, said she's the single greatest student he's ever had. He's been a professor for a long time at a great school. And we won the election, and therefore we have the right.
Uh-oh, Biden coughed already.
People knowingly would
He
say
also
otherwise. By the
giggled.
way, the Democrats,
Yeah, he did
they wouldn't even
giggle.
think about not doing it. If
He's
they
still
had the
giggling.
differences to try
I
and
feel
get
like he's
faster,
thinking about monkeys.
There's no way they would give it up. They had Merrick Garland, but the problem is they didn't have the election, so they were stopped. And probably that would happen in reverse also. Definitely would happen in reverse. So we won the election, and we have the right to do it, Chris.
President Trump, thank you. Same question to you, Vice President Biden. You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing this and looking forward to this, Mr. President.
Thank you, Joe.
The American people have a right to have a say in who the Supreme Court nominee is, and that say occurs when they vote for a United States senators and when they vote for the President of the United States.
He's just making Trump's point for him.
Now because we're in the election already. The election has already started. Tens of thousands of people have already voted. And so the thing that should happen is we should wait. We should wait and see what the outcome of this election is. Because that's the only way the American people get to express their view is by who they elect as president and who they elect as vice president. Now, what's at stake here is the president's made it clear he wants to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. He's been running on that, he ran on that, and he's been governing on that. He's in the Supreme Court right now.
Yeah, but they've already tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act and it was blocked. So,
which will strip 20 million people from having insurance, health insurance now, if it goes into court, and the justice, and I have nothing. I'm not opposed to the justice. She seems like a very fine person, but she's written before she went on the bench, which is her right, that she thinks that the Affordable Care Act is not constitutional. The other thing that's on the court, and if it's struck down, what happens? Women's rights are fundamentally
What is he
changed.
talking about?
Once again,
see, this is really bizarre because you need a case to come before the court before you can strike down a law. They don't just do that retroactively. So it's really, really bizarre.
and that
He
ended
went off on a tangent. He's not even answering the
Affordable
question.
Care Act. And there's 100 million people who have pre-existing conditions, and they'll be taken away as well. Those pre-existing conditions, the insurance companies are going to love this. And so it's just not appropriate to do this before this election.
I believe Trump signed an executive order to cover pre-existing conditions.
If not, we should wait until February.
So
100 million people with pre-existing conditions. As far as the say is concerned, the people already had their say. Okay, Justice Ginsburg said very powerfully, very strongly, at some point, 10 years ago or so, she said a president and the Senate is elected for a period of time, but a president's elected for 4 years. We're not elected for 3 years. I'm not elected for 3 years. So we have the Senate, we have a president.
He's elected to the next.
During that period of time.
Joe, please, I'm talking.
yeah, no, even before the next election, he's still the president. And even after the election, he's still the president. He's the president until January 17th or 20th or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my
Is
head.
that you're going to extinguish 180 million people with their private health care that they're very
That's
happy
simply
with.
not true.
Well, you're certainly going to socialist. You're going to socialist.
Oh, that's a bad point by Trump.
We're now into open discussion.
Open discussion.
Open discussion. Yes, I agree. Go ahead, Vice President.
Number one, he knows that what. Wipe any, and one of the big debates we had with 23 of my colleagues trying to win the nomination that I won were saying that Biden wanted to allow people to have private insurance still. They can. They do. They will under my proposal.
It's not what you've said,
But
and it's not what your party has said.
That is simply
Your party
a lie.
doesn't say it. Your
That
party
is
wants
simple.
to go socialist
My
medicine
party is
and
me.
socialist
Right
healthcare.
now, I am
And
the
they're gonna
Democrat.
Oh, wow, that's a strong statement. My party is me.
Platform of the Democratic Party is what I, in fact,
I don't know, buddy.
what I approved of. Now, here's the deal. The deal is that it's going to wipe out pre-existing conditions. And by the way, the 200,000 people that have died on his watch, how many of those have survived? Well, there's 7 million people that contracted COVID. What does it mean for them going forward if you strike down?
I'm very, very confused.
308,000 military people dying because you couldn't provide them proper health care in the military. So
Maybe we have a pissing match on question one.
Yeah.
it would be 2 million people.
It's gonna be fun, boys.
You didn't want me to
Be a
ban
long
China,
night.
which was heavily infected. You didn't want me to ban
All right, gentlemen,
which
no,
was heavily
Mr. President,
much later.
Let me
just
finish,
much
please.
later.
Mr.
We're
President,
talking about 2 million people.
You're not
Freaking
going to
idiot.
moderator, we are going to talk about COVID in the next segment, but go ahead.
Let me finish. The point is that the president also is opposed to Roe v. Wade. That's on the ballot as well in the court. And so that's also at stake right now.
Well,
And so the election is all begun.
see, there's interesting because I've seen a lot of people talk about the legal scholars talk about whether or not that even with Amy Coney Barrett on the court, they could actually overturn Roe. And from what I understand, a lot of them, from what I've been seeing and reading, a lot of them say no. They don't have the votes. They might be able to get
interesting.
3, but that would be
Then we'll come
most.
back to Roe v. Wade.
All right.
Mr. President, the Supreme Court will hear a case a week after the election in which the Trump administration, along with 18 state attorneys general,
What
are
did
seeking
Joe say?
to
Free
overturn
healthcare.
Obamacare, to end Obamacare. You have spent the
Freaking
last...
idiot.
Because they want to give good health care.
If I may ask my question, sir.
Good health care.
Over the last 4 years, you have promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, but you have never in these 4 years come up with a plan, a comprehensive plan
Yes,
to
I have.
replace Obamacare.
Of course I have.
Well, I'll
I
give
got
you an
rid of the
opportunity.
individual
When I finish, I'm going to
mandate.
give you an
Excuse me.
opportunity.
I got rid of the individual mandate, which was a
That
big
is not a
God.
comprehensive
That
plan.
is absolutely.
So that's a leading question. You got to drink.
What did he say?
Well, I'll ask Joe. The individual
What did he say,
mandate was the most
Zach?
unpopular
Mr. Vice
aspect of
Mr.
Obamacare. I got rid of it.
I'd like
And
you
we
to-
will
Mr.
protect people
President,
with
I'm the
pre-existing
moderator of this
conditions.
debate, and I would like
Oh,
you to
God.
ask my
It's already
question, and then
starting.
you can answer.
Go ahead.
You, in the course of these 4 years, have never come up with a comprehensive plan to replace Obamacare, and just this last Thursday, you signed a largely symbolic executive order to protect people with pre-existing conditions
shit.
5 days before this debate. So my question, sir, is what is the Trump health care plan?
Fine. Well, first of all, I guess I'm debating you, not him, but that's okay. I'm not surprised. Let me just tell you something. That
Oh, boy.
there's nothing symbolic. I'm cutting drug prices. I'm going with favored nations,
Oh, my
which no
God.
president has the courage to do because you're going against big pharma. Drug prices will be coming down 80 or 90%. You could have done it during your 47-year period in government, but you didn't do it. Nobody's done it. So we're
That's a
cutting
good
healthcare.
point.
All of the things
Joe
that
Biden
we've
can
done,
giggle, but that is a
insulin,
good
I give you
point.
an example. Insulin.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
going to, it was destroying families, destroying people because I'm getting it for so cheap. It's like water. You want to know the truth? So cheap. Take a look at all of the drugs.
It's like water.
Prescription drug prices. We're going to allow our governors now to go to other countries to buy.
They're
drugs
selling
because
insulin
they
like
pay
hotcakes.
just a tiny
As I
fraction
say,
of
this
what we
is
do.
open discussion.
No,
Let me
but
ask
this
you
is
about,
big. This
you'll
is
be
big
happy,
stuff.
sir, you'll be happy. I'm about to pick up on one of your points to ask the vice president, which is he points out that you would like to add a public option to Obamacare, and the argument that he makes, and other Republicans
Donald
make,
Trump is so
is that
confrontational,
is
dude.
going to end private insurance.
It is
and
not.
will, if I can ask you the question, it will
Not what your
end.
party says, by the way.
It will end private insurance and create a government takeover of health care.
It does not. It's only for those people who are so poor they qualify for Medicaid. They can get that
Zach,
free
does that count as a
in
stutter?
most states, except governors who want to deny
See-
people who are poor Medicaid. Anyone who
I
qualifies
don't know
for
if that
This
Medicaid,
is stupid. It's so dumb because you're artificially creating demand.
the vast majority of the American people would still not be in that option. Number one.
Joe, you
Number
agreed
two.
with Bernie Sanders,
I-
who's
I
far
did-
left.
Okay, this is getting wild. I need to look at the thing again.
Very lucky.
Here's the deal. I got very lucky. I mean, get very lucky tonight
Oh,
as well.
jeez.
And tonight I'm going to make sure because here's the deal. Here's the deal. The fact is that everything he's saying so
What was
far
one of
is
the
simply
rules?
a lie. I'm not here to call out his lies. Everybody knows he's a liar.
But you
I just
agree-
want to
Hey,
make
wait,
sure.
Joe, you're the liar.
I want to make sure.
Graduated last in your class, and first in your class.
I want to make
Mr.
sure.
President, can you let him finish, sir?
No, he doesn't know how to do that. He has.
You'd be
you know,
surprised.
you pick
You'd be surprised. Go
the
ahead.
wrong guy, the wrong night at the wrong time.
Listen, you agreed with
Here's the
Bernie
deal.
Sanders to the
The
manifesto.
whole idea.
Now you're disavowing it.
There is no manifesto. Number
Please
one.
let him speak, Mr.
Number two.
You just lost the left.
Number two.
You just lost the left. You agreed with Bernie Sanders on a plan.
Folks,
absolutely
folks,
agreed
do you
to,
have
and
any
under that
idea
plan,
what
you have
this clown's
socialized, they
doing?
call it
Do you
Medicare.
have any idea?
Oh, he got a drink. He's talking tough. He does the whole tough man act.
For any help for people needing health care.
Oh my gosh, this is.
Because he, in fact, already
I'm
has
gonna need another
cost
beer.
10 million people their health care that they had from their employers because of his recession. Number one. Number two, there are 20 million people getting health
Bad
care
argument.
from Obamacare now that he wants to take it away. He won't ever look you in the eye and say that's what he wants to do. take it away.
No, I want to give
Number
them better
three.
health care at a much lower price because
and by the way, he
Obamacare
doesn't
is
know
no
how.
good.
He doesn't know how
I've
to do
already
that.
fixed it.
He has never
I've
offered
already
a plan.
fixed it to an extent.
He has never done a
as you
single
might
thing.
know, but probably does.
Oh my gosh, this is incredible. This is incredible.
Obamacare is no good. We made it better, and I had a choice to make very early on. We took away the individual mandate. We guarantee pre-existing conditions, but took away the individual mandate. Listen, this is the way it is, and that destroyed. That they shouldn't even call it Obamacare. Then I had a choice to make. Do I let my people run it really well? Or badly. If I run it badly, they'll probably blame him, but they'll blame me. But more importantly, I want to help people, okay? I said, you got to run it so well. And I just had a meeting with them. They said, the problem is no matter how well you run Obamacare, it's a disaster. It's too expensive, premiums are too high, and it doesn't work. So we do want to get rid of it. Chris, we want to get rid of it.
I understand it, sir, but I have to
Mr.
give you
President,
please.
please.
Please let the Vice President talk.
Good.
He has no plan for health care. Of
course we do.
Zane's here.
Oh, thank God.
He has executive
What's up?
orders that have no power.
Oh, he's
He
gone.
hasn't lowered
Now
drug
he's
costs
back.
for anybody. He's been
Hello?
promised a healthcare plan since
Hello,
he was
I'm here.
elected. He has none. Like almost everything.
Are you watching this, Zane?
He does not have a plan. He doesn't
Do you
have
hear
a
me?
plan.
Yeah, I can
And the
hear you.
fact is, this man doesn't know what
perfect.
he's talking about.
All right,
He's
I
intense.
have one final question for
Are you watching this, Zane?
Mr. Vice President.
I am.
If Senate Republicans,
Dude, it's hilarious.
we're talking
It's the
rich-
best
I'm getting-
thing ever.
If Senate
I'm getting old.
I don't know if
man
I have
arguing
enough
on
beer
nothing
for this.
on
I'm gonna
God.
be honest.
Barrett,
It's a comedy
there has
routine.
been talk about ending the
Ooh,
filibuster or even packing the court, adding to the 9 justices there. You call this a distraction by the president, but in fact it wasn't brought up by the president. It was brought up by some of your Democratic colleagues in Congress. So my question
Zane,
is,
I can
you
hear the
refused
TV
in the
through your
past to talk
thing.
about it. Are you
Oh.
going to tell the American people tonight whether or not you will
Here.
support either ending the filibuster or packing the court?
Whatever position I take in that, that'll become the issue. The issue is the American
Dude,
people
why is
should
he
Can
looking
you hear me now?
directly into
You
the
should go
camera?
out
Yeah.
and vote. You're in voting now. Vote and let your senators know how strongly you feel. Vote now. Make sure you, in fact.
He's not answering.
Yeah, he won't answer the question.
I'm not going to answer the question because the question is.
Is that part of the drinking game? Let me see if he. No, it's not. Dang it. That should have been part of the drinking game.
Oh, dude, I would have been hammered by now. You guy hasn't answered a question all night.
This segment, we're going to move on to the second segment.
That was really a productive segment, wasn't it? Keep yapping, man.
The people understand, Joe. 47 years, you've done nothing. They understand.
All right. The second subject is COVID-19, which is an awfully serious subject. So
I love how he can't,
let's try to be
he can't
serious about
hide.
it. We have had more than 7 million cases of coronavirus.
Like, he
in
can't
the
hide
United
anymore.
States, and more than 200,000
Like in the primaries, he was able to just sit back
after we produce
and kind of just hide behind
experts
everybody.
say
Yeah.
that it could be months or even years before we come
Now
back
Trump
to
is
everything
yapping too much.
approaching
Yeah, he's being way too aggressive. He's supposed he needed to come out aggressive. I don't have a problem with that. That was supposed to be his campaign strategy or his debate strategy in this debate. But he's talking. He's being way too aggressive, and I think it's going to turn off a lot of
your opponent
suburban voters when
Yeah.
he's interrupting Biden so much.
going forward. In this case, the question goes to you first, sir. 2 minutes uninterrupted.
Good luck. 200,000 dead. As you said, over
That was actually
7
kind of
million
funny.
infected in the United States. We, in fact, have 5%, 4% of the world's population, 20% of the deaths. 40,000 people a day are contracting COVID. In addition to that,
This is a bad argument.
between 750 and 1,000 people a day are dying.
Yep.
When he was presented with
Because, and let me just lay it out for people that are watching this stream now or may watch it later.
That's why it is.
There is 2 different strains of coronavirus. There is an eastern strain and western strain. We got the western strain, which is more.
All the way back in February, how serious
It's
this
easily
crisis was.
it's more. What is it called? Transmissible.
What did he do?
Yeah, it's far more transmissible than the eastern strain. And not only that, the second highest population country in the world is India, and they are not testing for the virus. So.
He went in and we were insisting that the Chinese, the people we had.
I'm amazed he hasn't
should be
talked
able
yet.
to go to Wuhan and determine for themselves
Yeah, this is
how
what we
dangerous
needed
this
earlier.
was. He did not even
This is what we
ask
needed,
Xi.
because now he's just gonna shred him.
Told us what a
Oh,
great
dude,
job
bad.
Xi was doing.
Oh, he said wrong. Wrong.
You said wrong. Yeah. You're just wrong. Okay, Jeff? Okay, Jeff? All right?
He
You're just
then
wrong.
did
All
nothing.
right?
He waited and waited and waited. He still doesn't have a plan.
Wrong.
I love this. He's just saying wrong.
We should be providing all the protective gear possible. We should be providing the money the House has passed in order to be able
Oh,
to
he's
go
being
out
tough,
and
Zach. We
give
got a drink,
people the
dude.
help they need to keep their businesses open. Open
Tough
schools.
guy, Joe Biden.
You should get out of your bunker and get out of the sand trap and get in your golf course and go in the Oval Office and bring together the Democrats and Republicans and fund what needs to be done now to save lives.
So if we would have listened to you,
Oh, shit.
if we would have listened to you, the country would have been left wide open. Millions of people would have died, not 200,000.
Zach, you said China 36 times. So
Oh
far.
my
It
gosh.
should have never happened. They stopped it from going in, but it was China's fault. And by the way, when you talk about
Wow.
you don't know how many people died in China. You
I
don't know
just
how many
ran
people
out of
died in
beer.
Russia. You don't know how many people died in India. They don't exactly give you a straight count, just so you understand. But
Wow, he made the point.
done, I
Congratulations. I'll clap for that. That was good.
racist and he's xenophobic because you didn't think they should close our country.
Oh, and now Joe's interrupting. See, this is interesting. Oh, he stopped himself.
It was terrible.
This is quite the switch of a dynamic. This is weird.
Doing it early. In fact, Dr. Fauci said President Trump saved thousands of lives. Many of your Democrat governors said President Trump did a phenomenal job. We worked with the governor. Oh, really? Go take a look.
That is true. There are videos
is
of every single
absolutely true.
Democratic governor saying Trump or the federal government gave us everything we needed.
Yep.
So that's absolutely true. They can try and walk that back now, but that is what they said. The federal government supplied everything we needed.
Yeah.
And now we're weeks away from a vaccine. We're doing therapeutics already. Fewer people are dying when they
Oh,
get sick.
fake news. I can't even drink. Dang it.
The only thing I haven't done a good job.
I gotta
he
go
said
get
fake
another
news?
beer. Yes. Well, I think mine is a little bit of ahead of y'all.
They give you good press. They give me bad press because that's the way it is, unfortunately. But
Yeah, I've been consistently drinking my beer because this whole thing has been kind of a nightmare so far.
that we did. You don't have it in your blood. You could have never done that job.
I know how to do the job. I know how to get the job.
Another what, Ma?
You do very well in swine flu.
Yeah.
H1N1. You were a disaster. Your own chief.
Oh no, we don't have any more beer.
15,000 people died, not 200,000. There was no economic recession. And there was no one, we didn't shut down the economy.
Shut down the economy.
Shut down.
I'm sorry? Did he just
Wait, did he
Trump
just
shut
say
down?
that? Pause.
He
Pause.
literally just said that.
He literally just said that Trump shut down the economy.
Oh no.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
I think that's
That's a
blatant,
that's a blatant lie.
blatant untrue.
It was the governors.
It was the governors of the states, mostly Democrat states.
If I remember right, Trump wanted to keep the economy open for far longer than it should.
Yeah, he did.
We could lose as many as another 200,000 people between now and the end of the year. And he held up, he said, if we just wear a mask, we can save half those numbers. Just a mask.
This guy's a moron, dude. That makes no sense at all.
The whole notion of a vaccine. We're for a vaccine, but I don't trust him at all, nor do you. I know you don't.
Wait, so he's an anti-vax? Did he just anti-vax right now? On
Yeah. I hope Trump brings that up. So are you anti-vax, Joe?
Sleepy Joe, are you trying to say people should not vaccinate themselves? Moron.
That is wild. I know Kamala said that she wouldn't trust a vaccine if it came out under a Trump administration, but I can't believe he said it during a debate.
Of the Centers for Disease Control, Dr. Redfield said it would be summer before the vaccine would become generally available to the public. You said that he was confused and mistaken. Those are your two words. But Dr.
He's confused. Yeah.
Idiot.
has said exactly the same thing.
I've said that so many times. These people are morons.
Companies, and we can have it a lot sooner. It's a very political thing because people like this would rather make it political than save lives. It is a very political thing. I've spoken to Pfizer. I've spoken to all of the people that you have to speak to. We have great Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and others. They can go faster than that by a lot. become very political because the left, or I don't know, I don't know what I call it.
The head of your Operation Warp Speed, Dr.
I disagree with him. No, I disagree with both of them. And he didn't say that. He said it could be there, but it could also be much sooner. I had him in my office 2 days ago.
Hey, Mom, can we get a little bit of volume, please?
He said it's a possibility that we'll have the answer before November 1st. It could also be after that. Well, we're going to deliver it right away. We have the military all set up logistically. They're all set up. We have our military that delivers soldiers, and they can do 200,000 a day. They're going to be delivering.
Same man.
It's all set up.
By Easter, this would be gone away. By the warm weather, it'd be gone. Miraculous, like a miracle.
Well, I mean,
to be
the
fair,
warm weather did kill it.
Yeah, so
like for that, I mean, for him to say that, that's retarded.
Well,
It did-
everyone was,
it did
and scientists were saying that as well because of the way the warm weather killed off, or you have lulls in the Spanish flu in the early 1900s during the summer.
Yeah.
So that was based off of the previous pandemic that the entire Earth had experienced. And so it was not illogical for him to say that during the summer, in March and April, it would go away.
In fact, you said that again tonight. Your running mate, Senator Harris, goes further, saying that public health experts, quote, will be muzzled, will be suppressed. Given the fact that polls already show that people are concerned about the vaccine and are reluctant to take it, are you and your running mate, Senator Harris, contributing to that fear?
No more than the question you just asked him. You pointed out. He puts pressure and disagrees with.
True, she did say that.
Zane, I can still hear it through your mic.
You can't trust the scientists. She didn't say that. You can't trust.
She said the public health experts, quote, will be muzzled, will be suppressed.
Well, that's what he's going to try to do. But
That's what he's going to try to do.
Thousands of scientists out there, like here at this great hospital, that don't work for him. Their job
I don't like that Joe is directly looking into the camera into my soul.
To the scientists that are in charge, they will have the vaccine very soon.
Do you believe for a moment?
I love how he's looking at the camera.
That's so weird, dude.
That is the tackiest shit ever.
Does that count as Tough Guy Joe?
No. Tough guy is like calls him a clown or makes a physical
I'm gonna beat you
threat.
behind a shed. Yeah.
He's on record as saying it.
I'm gonna take him back to the schoolyard and beat him.
One of the two, because guess what? A lot of people died. And a lot more are going to die unless he gets a lot smarter. A lot smarter. Mr. President?
Did you use the word smart? So you said you went
Holy
to
shit.
Delaware State, but you forgot the name of your college. You didn't go to Delaware State.
Oh my gosh! He did not. That okay. That's a mic drop moment. That's a mic drop moment. We got to drink.
Holy shit!
Because you know what? There's nothing smart about you, Joe. 47 years you've done nothing.
Let's have this debate.
Oh, I got to get more beer.
Let me just tell you something, Joe. If you would have had the charge of what I was put through, I had to close the greatest economy in the history of our country. And by the way, now it's being built again. And it's going
Oh,
up
incredible.
In the next segment, sir.
Okay.
It's going up fast.
Okay. When it comes to how the virus has been handled so far, the two of you have taken very different approaches, and this is going to affect how the virus is handled going forward by whichever of you.
So this is interesting. I want Chris Wallace to ask Joe Biden what he would have done differently.
Vice President Biden, you have been much more reluctant than President Trump about reopening the economy and schools. Why, sir?
Because he doesn't have a plan. If I were running, I know what the plan is. You've got to provide these businesses the ability to have the money to be able to reopen with the PPE as well as with the sanitation they need. You have to provide that
Nancy Pelosi.
Well, he just shush for a minute.
Tell it to Nancy Pelosi.
And
Schumer,
by the way,
Brian Chuck.
Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, they have a plan. He won't even meet with
Why do you keep bringing up the golf?
Whoops.
He sits in his golf course. And, well, I mean, literally, think about it.
You probably play more than I do, Joe.
What about this question of reopenings and the fact
He wants to shut down this country, and I want to keep it open. And we did a great job by shutting it down. Wait a minute, Joe. Let me shut you down for a second, Joe, just for 1 second. He wants wants to shut down the country. We just went through it. We had to because we didn't know anything about the disease. Now we found that elderly people with heart problems and diabetes and different problems are very, very vulnerable. We learned a lot. Young children aren't. Even younger people aren't. We've learned a lot. But he wants to shut it down. More people will be hurt by continuing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if you look at certain states that have been shut down, they have Democrat governors all. One of the reasons they shut down is because they want to keep it shut down until after the election. Because it's a political. But those states are not doing well that are shut down right now.
President Trump, you have begun to increasingly question the effectiveness of masks as a disease preventer. And in fact, recently you have cited the issue of waiters touching their masks and touching plates. Are you questioning
No, I think masks are okay. Don't understand, if you look, I mean, I have a mask right here. I put a mask on, when I think I need it. Tonight, as an example, everybody's had a test, and you've had social distancing and all of the things that you have to, but I wear masks when needed. When needed, I wear masks. I don't wear masks like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from me, and he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
What an idiot.
This is so dumb. Oh my gosh.
Sir, I was asking you about masks.
We provided money.
I was asking you, sir, about
You're an idiot, dude.
Masks make a big difference. His own head of the CDC said if we just wore masks between now, if everybody wore masks and social distance between now and January, we'd probably save up to 100,000 lives. It matters.
And they've also said the opposite. They've also said,
no serious person said the opposite. No serious.
Whoa. People were saying the opposite. That is...
People were saying the opposite.
That is absolutely the case. Dr. Fauci said the exact opposite. Early on, he did.
Yep, he did. It's a fact.
President Trump, you're holding large rallies with crowds packed together, thousands of people. Outside, yes, sir.
Oh, shit, dude.
Vice President Biden, you are holding much
I
smaller
freaking love that.
events with
There's nobody would show up. I love that so much, dude.
All right. In any case,
So
why
funny.
you holding the big rallies? Why you not? You goes first, sir.
because
Oh.
people want to hear what I have to say. I mean,
But are you
you've
not
done a
worried
great
about it
job
spreading
as a
disease?
president, and I'll have 35,000 people show up at airports. We use airports.
You're not worried about
We have a
disease
lot of
issues,
people.
sir.
Well, so far, we have had no problem whatsoever. It's outside. That's a big difference, according to the experts. We do them outside. We have tremendous crowds, as you see. I mean, and literally on 24 hours.
Oh god, this crowd size stuff is just so annoying.
By the way, did you see one of the last big rallies he had? And a reporter came up to him to ask him a question. He said, no, stand back. Put on your mask. Put on a mask.
Dude, stop looking directly into the camera. Holy shit.
Those other people. That's what he said. I'm going to be okay. He's not worried about you. He's not worried about the people out there breathing in water.
No negative effect.
No negative effect.
We've had no negative effect, and we've had 35, 40,000 people at these rallies.
Just quickly finish up because I want to move on to our next.
Yes, I would. He's been totally irresponsible.
Holy
in the way in
shit,
which he
dude.
has handled
They need to stop talking about the
the
crowd.
social distancing and people wearing masks, basically encouraging them not to. All right, and he's a fool on this.
If you could get the crowds, you would have done the same thing. But you can't. Nobody can.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to drink.
I love it.
This is glorious. This is glorious. This is the best thing in my life.
4% last month. The Federal Reserve says the hit to growth, which is going to be there, is not going to be nearly as big as
I'm dying.
expected. President Trump, you say we are in a V-shaped recovery.
I'm so glad Zach convinced me to do my civic duty tonight.
Of a K-shape. What difference does that mean to the American people in terms of the economy? President Trump,
Did he really say China?
you go first.
Holy shit.
The greatest economy in history. We closed it down because of the China plague. When the
Oh, he said China.
We closed it down.
Yeah,
It
but
was very hard psychologically to do. He didn't think we should close it down, and he was wrong.
You said it again.
Oh, I said it again. Fuck.
Still, 204,000 people is too much one person.
You guys are gonna be plastered.
From China.
Oh my God.
That's only my second beer.
And now we're reopening, and we're doing record business. We had 10.4 million people in a 4-month period that we've put back into the workforce. That's a record the likes of which nobody's ever seen before. And he wants to close.
Hey Zane, can you do something to fix your mic? I can still hear it through the your phone or whatever you're on.
What about now?
That's better. Still hear it.
What about now?
Nope, you're good now.
Oh, that's perfect.
Well, now I can hear it again.
Hold on.
They can do whatever they want. But
there it
they
is.
open these states up. When you look at North Carolina,
What about now?
these governors are under siege.
Oh, here it is. That's money.
Michigan and a couple of others.
Nope.
You gotta open the states up.
You can still hear it.
And you look at what's
What
going
about
on
now?
with divorce. Look at what's going on with alcoholism and drugs. It's
Yeah, no, still there. It's still there, dude.
Am I gonna have to turn down the volume? I hate you guys.
Our country is coming back incredibly well.
Better?
Setting records.
Yeah, that's better. Dude, I hate the fact
that's
that
better.
mine is a little bit further ahead of you guys.
All right, your 2 minutes, sir. We now move to you. As I said, posing the question, the president says it's a V-shaped recovery. You say it's a K-shaped recovery.
What the fuck is a K-shaped recovery?
It means it goes two ways.
COVID crisis.
It goes like this.
Another set of billionaires have raised
Okay, I have to
Oh
agree
my
just
gosh,
because,
this is
because
amazing.
Joe Biden mentioned
Golly.
I have to do it.
But you folks at home, you folks living in Scranton and Claymont and all the small towns and work.
Tell them how you're going to shut down their fracking, Joe.
Dude, my stepdad just goes, Joe Biden looks like an alien.
The fact is that he is.
I just think he looks like a sick. I just think he looks like a sick old man.
President of the United States to leave office having fewer jobs in his administration than when he became president. Fewer jobs than when he became president. First one in American history. Second
What?
What is he
I can't
talking
even
about?
believe he's making this argument. This is such a stupid argument.
Well, not just that. It's a lie.
Yeah.
We absolutely have more jobs than when he started.
Well, probably not now.
Yeah, than when he
I
started.
think still even now.
I have to. I'll double check it later.
Than when he started that. Just by population growth, he's wrong.
Why does he want to open it up? Why doesn't he take care of the American? You can't fix the economy until you fix the COVID crisis. And he has no intention of doing anything about making it better for you all at home in terms of your health and your safety. Schools. Why aren't
They gave
schools
him
open?
uppers.
Because it costs a lot of money to open them safely.
Yeah, he looked nowhere near this good during his town hall.
No.
School students masks. And then they decided, no, couldn't do that because it's not.
Granted, this is a 90-minute debate. He's still got 30 minutes to go.
They've done nothing to
That's
help
very true.
small businesses. Nothing. They're closing. 1 in 6 is now gone. He ought to get on the job and take
That's
care
due
of
to
the
those
needs of
Democratic
American
governors,
people
my
so
friend.
we can
Yep.
open safely.
All right, your time is up, sir. We are going to get to.
I have to respond to that.
Well, you both had 2 minutes, sir.
Excuse me, he made a statement.
So did you.
People want their schools. No, people want their schools open. They don't want to be shut down. They don't want their state shut down. They want their restaurants. I look at New York. It's so sad what's happening in New York. It's
Thank
almost
you,
like a ghost
Jesus.
town.
He's
And
going to
I'm
bring
sure
up the
it can never
governors.
recover what
I
they've done
brought
in New York.
back
People
football.
want their places open. They want to get back to their
my
local. They'll be careful, but they want their schools open. I'm the one that brought back football.
He brought back football. Debate over. Trump won.
That's all you gotta say, dude.
Gentlemen, we're going to get to your economic plans going forward in a moment. First, Mr. President, as you well know, there's a new report that in 2016, the year you were elected president,
Yeah, that
in
was dumb.
2017,
That was retarded.
your first
I
year
brought back
as
football.
president, that you paid $750 a year in federal income tax each of those years.
That's a lie.
I know that you pay
So that's a leading question or a disingenuous question.
Yeah, that's a lie.
In federal income taxes.
He paid a lot more in taxes.
I paid millions of dollars in taxes, millions of dollars of income tax. And let me just tell you, there was a story in one of the papers. I paid $38 million one year. I paid $27 million.
Show us your tax returns.
I went.
This tax return thing, it pisses me off. I talked about this at the beginning of my live stream. So if you want to go back and look at that, I'll probably put that in a clips thing.
I'm totally under leveraged because the assets are extremely good, and we have a very I built a great.
I'm asking you a specific question, which is.
Let me tell you.
I understand all of that. I understand all of that. No, Mr. President, I'm asking you a question. Will you tell us how much you paid in federal income taxes in 2016 and 2017?
What the fuck? Like,
you paid millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
So not 750.
Millions of dollars, and you'll get to see it. And you'll get to see it. But let me just tell you, Chris. Let me just tell you something. That it was the tax laws. I don't want to pay tax. Before I came here, I was a private developer. I was a private business people. Like every other private person, unless they're stupid, they go through the laws, and that's what it is. He passed a tax bill that gave us all these privileges for depreciation.
That's true.
That's very true.
Can't argue with that.
Like the hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue, you get a massive, which, by the way, was given to me by the Obama administration, if you can believe that. Now, the man got fired right after that happened.
Vice President Biden, you want to respond?
the man got fired. He's talking about Obama. He's making a joke.
That made him.
The man got fired.
Put him in a position that he pays less tax than a school teacher on the money a school teacher makes.
I'm sorry?
Is because of him he says
I'm
he's
sorry?
smart because he can take advantage of the tax code.
No, Joe.
No. He follows the tax code.
Yeah, he follows the tax code that you wrote.
And make sure that
and that your administration signed into law.
Need help. But why didn't you do it over the last 25 years?
Because you weren't president. Because you weren't president screwing things up.
You were
What? Then why didn't you do it over the past 25 years? Because you weren't the president screwing things up.
We've done in 47 years. We've done things that you never even thought about, including fixing the broken military that you gave me, taking care of your vets.
Mr. President, we're talking about the economy. I'd like to ask you about your plans going forward because, Mr. Vice President, your economic plan, if you were to be elected president, focuses a lot on big government, big taxes, big spending. I want to focus first on the taxes. You propose more than $4 trillion over a decade in new taxes on individuals making more than $400,000 a year and on corporations. President Trump says that kind of an increase in taxes
hurts the little guy.
To hurt the economy as it's just coming out of a recession.
Well, just take a look at what is the analysis done by Wall Street firms. Points out that my economic plan would create 7 million more jobs than his.
I am what?
Okay, you can't say that when Trump had the lowest unemployment in history. Like, you can't say that. Like, okay, this Wall Street firm says, okay, but real life application.
To steel, to buildings and the like. And under my proposal, we're going to make sure that every penny of that has to be made by a company in America.
So I'm talking about taxes, not spending.
By the way, I'm going to eliminate a significant number of the tax. I'm going to make the corporate tax 28%. It shouldn't be 21%. You have
Whoa! He's bumping it up to 28?
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God! 7% increase in the corporate tax rate. That is incredible.
I got it done, and you know what happened? You got it done. Our economy boomed like it's never boomed.
The economy
Mr. President, let me pick up on that. You would continue your free market approach, lower taxes, more deregulation, correct?
Not lower taxes for American people.
Oh, that's incorrect.
Yeah.
That is a lie.
Yeah, millionaire. Well, not just that. Like, even if it is the people that make like middle income, middle to high income, that's still Americans.
Yeah.
In the first 3 years of your
Like, he's making it sound like those aren't Americans.
Since economic recovery since 1929, It was the slowest recovery. Also, they took over something that was down here. All you had to do is turn on the lights and you pick up a lot. But they had the slowest economic since
That's a mic drop moment.
the stock market. When the stock market goes up, that means jobs. It also means 401ks. If you
Yep.
got in, if
Amen.
you became president with your ideas, you want to terminate my taxes, I'll tell you what, you'll lose half of the companies that have poured in here will leave.
That's true. If you raise the corporate tax rate to 28%, everybody's leaving.
They're gone.
Everybody's leaving.
Which you've never seen.
Look, we inherited the worst recession short of a depression in American history. I was asked to bring it back.
No. You weren't asked because you lost. Actually, you actually lost that presidential campaign.
We gave him a booming economy. Not true.
Is it fair to say he blew it
Oh my God.
when there was record low unemployment before COVID?
Yeah, but because what he did, even before COVID, manufacturing went in the hole.
What?
What?
Went in the hole.
Oh my gosh, he
That
did
is
not
fake
just
news.
say that.
That is fake news.
Chris, they said it would take a miracle to bring back manufacturing. I brought back 700,000 jobs. They brought back nothing. They gave up on manufacturing. Modified standard fare.
I'm the guy
He
that brought
totally
back
gave
the
up on
automobile
manufacturing.
industry. We brought back. I was
Baloney. The automobile industry moved.
We brought them back right here in the state of Ohio and Michigan. He blew it. They're gone.
What are you talking about?
Ohio had the best year it's ever had last year. Michigan had the best year they've ever had.
That is not
Many
true.
car companies came in from Germany, from Japan, went to Michigan.
That is true. That is very true.
Mr. Vice President, go ahead.
The vice president, Biden can't beat him on the economy.
Very little.
Yeah.
It's trade deals
never
are
had
the
them.
same way. He talks about these great trade deals. You know, he talks about the art of the deal. China's perfected the art of the steal.
Zach, are you doing a comprehensive
The art of
review
steel.
the debate?
Than we did before. We have the highest.
How many times do you think he rehearsed that line before he came on stage?
47.
47, like the 47 years he's been in office.
Takes out billions of dollars to manage. He makes millions of dollars.
That's a good one. That was a good one.
I'll drink to that. I enjoy that.
Moscow's wife $3.5 million.
These guys are stupid.
What did he do with Burisma to deserve 180?
Oh, he brought up Hunter Biden. I have to take a shot. Oh my gosh. He brought up Hunter Biden. Take a shot.
Oh, man.
Totally discredited.
All right, here we go.
He didn't get $3.5 million, Joe? He got $3.5
Oh god, I really don't want to do this.
Oh, shit.
Woo! Wow. I can't believe he did that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna be drunk, dude. Holy shit.
He doesn't want to let me answer because he knows I have the truth.
I am the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
By our allies, by the World Bank, by everyone has discredited. Matter of fact,
Dude, why do you keep starting?
Well.
under oath.
So let me ask you this.
Go ahead, Mister. I'm listening to you.
People under,
He got $3.5 million from Moscow.
he testified under oath in his administration, said, I did my job.
Facts.
I did it very well. I did it honestly.
Facts.
Well, I'll give you the list of the
I love that.
Sure, you-
Some people just don't do a good job.
most of them because they did a good job.
Some people don't do
Well,
a good
here's
job.
the,
With you,
Go ahead. You wait a minute. You get the final word, Mister.
well, it's hard to get any word in with this clown. Excuse me.
Oh, he said clown.
No. Mr. President. Mr. President.
That is simply.
why did he deserve $3.5 million from Moscow?
Look, here's the deal. We want to talk about families and ethics. I don't want to do that. I mean, his family we could talk about all night. His family's already
My family lost a fortune by coming down and helping us with government.
and that's such a.
And they're right here. Every single one of them lost a fortune.
I might have to go get another beer here soon.
Family.
Yeah, I'm running out quickly.
It doesn't want to talk about.
Zach said he had to get another beer. I was like, yeah, pretty much. I already had to
I'm
take
really
a
getting
freaking
tired of this
shot.
looking at the freaking camera thing.
Dude, he's trying to
Yeah.
be like.
I think.
Let me
I think-
show you. Let
I
me
think
show you that I know you because I look into the camera. That's how you know I know
Trump, I think Trump should look into the camera and mock exactly what he's doing.
It's so disingenuous to me that he's doing that, to be quite honest. I think it's having the opposite of effect that he planned.
I hate to raise my voice, but it seems to be, why shouldn't I be different than the two of you? So here's the deal. We have
I'm actually going to tweet about that.
6 segments. We have ended that segment.
If Joe Biden looks deep into my soul one more time.
You each are going to have 2 uninterrupted moments. In those 2 uninterrupted minutes, Mr. President, you can say anything you want. I'm going to ask a question about race, but if you want to answer about something else, go ahead. But I think that the
Chris has
country
had
would be
enough.
better served if we
Chris is like, this is fucking, this is dumb.
Chris is like, I don't get paid enough for this shit.
Well, frankly,
Yeah,
I'm doing more
exactly.
But he does plenty.
Well, less than, sir, less
There's
than,
plenty.
no, less than you have. Let's please continue on. The issue of race. Vice President Biden, you say that President Trump's response to the violence in Charlottesville.
Ooh, Charlottesville hoax. Let's go.
Very fine people on both sides.
The Charlottesville hoax.
Directly led you to launch this run for president.
Oh, yeah, sure.
President Trump, you have often said that you believe you have done more for black Americans than any president, with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln. My question for the two of you is, why should voters trust you rather than your opponent to deal with the race issues facing this country over the next 4 years? Vice President Biden, you go first.
It's about equity and equality. It's about decency. It's about the Constitution.
No.
And we have never walked away from trying to require equity for everyone, equality for the whole of America. But we've never accomplished it. But we've never walked away from it like he has done. It is true. The reason I got in the race is when those people, close your eyes, remember what those people look like coming out of the fields carrying torches, their veins bulging, spewing anti-Semitic bile, and accompanied by the Ku Klux Klan. A young woman got killed. And they asked the president what he thought. He said there were very fine people on both sides.
I think I have to take a shot for that. I think I have to take a shot for that. I think I do.
Now, second,
I think I have to take a shot.
Is that when Floyd...
That's a blatant lie. That is
fake
the
news.
lie that he started his campaign on.
He came out of his bunker, had the military use tear gas on him so he could walk across to a church and hold up a Bible. And then what happened after that? The bishop of that very church said that it was a disgrace. The general who was with him said
So just because a political bishop says that it's a disgrace.
Well, not only that, it's everyone in the administration said that that's not what happened. That happened that would have happened regardless of whether Trump was going to that church.
Talk about helping African Americans. 1 in 1,000 African Americans has been killed because of the coronavirus. And if he doesn't do something quickly, by the end of the year, 1 in 500.
I love the fact he did that.
1 in 500 African Americans.
Why is he still looking to the
this
camera?
Man is a savior of African Americans. This man cares at all.
He's getting into the hearts
this
and minds of the
man's done
American
virtually
people.
nothing. Look,
This
the
man.
fact is that you have to look at what
I love how
talks
he,
about.
like, every
You have
5
to
seconds.
Look at
Look,
what he
the
did,
fact is.
and what he did has
Look,
been
come on.
disastrous
He hasn't said,
for
"Come
the
on,
African
man,"
American
yet. This
community.
is surprising.
I know, I'm surprised.
President
Maybe they
Trump, you have
told
2
him. Maybe they're
minutes.
like,
Why
please
should
don't say come on,
Americans
man. You can say, look,
trust
the fact
you
is.
over your opponent to deal with
He
racism.
did a crime bill, 1994.
Oh, he brought up the crime bill! Jared, what did I tell you when this shit started? What did I say? What did I say?
It's his 2 minutes.
So
What
you
happened?
did
I missed
that,
it.
and they call you super predator, and I'm letting people out of jail now that you have treated the African American population community, you have treated the black community about as bad as anybody in this country. You did the and that's why, if you look at the polls, I'm doing better than any Republican has done in a long time, because they saw what you did. You call them super predators, and you've called them...
Wow, he's actually doing it.
Testimony over the years, you've called them a lot worse than that. As far as the church is concerned, and as far as the generals are concerned, we just got the support of 250 military leaders and generals. Total support. Law enforcement, almost every law enforcement group in the United States. I have Florida, I have Texas, I have
Yeah,
Ohio.
they all came out.
I have Portland, the sheriff just came out today, and he said, I support President Trump. I don't think you have any law enforcement. You can't even say the word law enforcement, because if you say those words, you're going to lose all of your radical left supporters. And why are you saying those words.
Holy
Why
shit.
don't you say the words law enforcement? Because you know what? If they called us in Portland, we would put out that fire in a half an hour, but they won't do it because they're run by radical left Democrats. If you look at Chicago, if you look at
Oh my gosh, he's going off!
Hammer the nail, baby. There's a nail. Minneapolis, we got it back, Joe, because we believe in law and order, but you don't. The top 10 cities and just about the top 40 cities are run by Democrats and in many cases radical left, and they've got you wrapped around their finger, Joe, to a point where you don't want to say anything about law and order. And I'll tell you what, the people of this country want and demand law and order, and you're afraid to even say it.
All right. I want to return to the question of race. Vice President Biden, after the grand jury in the Breonna Taylor case, decided
Oh, they're going with Breonna Taylor.
with homicide, you said it raises the question, quote, whether justice could be equally applied in America. Do you believe that there is a separate but unequal system of justice for blacks in this country?
Yes, there is. There's systemic injustice in this
Oh,
country, in
that's
education,
a dementia moment. You got to drink.
And the way in which it's enforced. But look, the vast majority of police officers are good, decent, honorable men and women. They risk their lives every day to take care of us. But there are some bad apples, and when they occur, when they find them, they
He
have
just
to be
used the
sorted
Republican
out. They have
talking
to be
point
held
of some
accountable.
bad apples.
They have to be held accountable. And what I'm going to do as President of the United States is call together an entire group of people at the White House, well, everything from the civil rights groups to the police officers, the police chiefs, and we're going to work this out. We're going to work this out so we change the way in
That's
which
a
we have more
non-answer.
transparency.
That's what that
when
is.
these things happen.
That's a non-answer.
Cops aren't happy to see what
Not
happened
answering
to
it.
George Floyd. These cops aren't happy to see what happened to Breonna Taylor. Most don't like it. But we have to have a system where people are held accountable.
But the Breonna Taylor
And
case
by
is
the way,
far more
violence
complicated
in
than the George
response
Floyd
is never
case.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Never appropriate. Peaceful protest is. Violence is never appropriate.
All right,
What is peaceful protest? When they run through the middle of a town and burn down your stores and kill people all over the place?
That
You
is
say
not
peaceful
peaceful
protest?
President
No,
Trump,
it's
I'm not
not,
asking-
but you say it is.
President Trump, I'd like to continue with the
Yes,
issue
go
of
ahead,
race. I
please.
promise we're going to get to the issue of law and order.
93% of protests
This
are
month,
peaceful.
your administration directed federal agencies to end racial sensitivity training that addresses.
No. That's not what he said.
What the heck?
That is not the. That is not the.
To do that, to end racial sensitivity training. And
No. It's specifically based on critical race theory.
I ended it because it's racist.
So that's a leading
I
question
didn't
and
believe
a
that
dishonest
people were
question. So that's a drink.
complaining. They were asked to do
Absolutely.
things that were
It's absolutely a leading
insane,
question. That's
that
ridiculous.
It was a radical.
Because critical race theory is
revolution
different
was
from
taking
racial
place
sensitivity
in our
training.
military, in our schools,
As someone that
all
had
over
to
the
study that
place,
stuff
and
in
you know
college,
that,
that's
and
very,
so
very,
does
very
everybody else.
different.
And he would know.
What is
Oh,
Shout
it's
out
totally
to college.
racial sensitivity training?
If you were
I ain't
a
nothing to
certain
watch
person,
anymore.
you had no status in life. It was sort of a reversal. And if you look at the people, we were paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach very bad ideas and frankly very sick ideas. And really,
Very true.
they were teaching people to hate our
Yeah.
country.
He's gotta
I'm
be
not
more
gonna
clear,
do
though.
that. I'm not going to allow that to happen.
He has to be more clear, though.
We have
Yeah,
to
he
go
does.
back to the core values
But he doesn't
of this
know. I
country.
don't think he
They
knows
were
what critical
teaching
race
people
theory is.
that our country is a horrible place. It's a racist place, and they were teaching people
There
to
you
hate
go.
our country. And I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
that's
allow
true.
that to
Okay,
happen.
good.
Vice President
And now they
Biden?
know what critical race
Nobody's
theory
doing
is.
that. He's the racist.
You just don't.
Here's the deal. I know a lot
He
more
just
about
called
this
him
than you.
racist.
Let him finish.
I think he
The
did.
fact is
He
that
just
there
said he's
is
racist.
racial insensitivity. People have to be made aware of what other people feel like.
He just called
what insults them,
him
what is
racist.
demeaning to them. It's important to people know they don't want to. Many people don't want to hurt other people's feelings, but it makes a big difference. It makes a gigantic difference in the way.
I
a
love how
child
they have
is
right
able to
behind
grow up
both
and
of
have
their
a
heads
self-
is
a
the right
sense
of the people to
self-esteem.
keep and bear arms
It's a
shall
little
not be
bit
infringed.
like
I love that.
Is that what's behind
Look
them?
down on so many
Yeah.
people. They look down their nose on people.
I don't
like
think it
The right
is.
of the people.
Catholics like me.
I don't.
right of the
It's
people
the
to keep
right.
and bear arms.
It's
People who
the.
don't have money. They look down on people.
I believe
who
it's the
are of a
Declaration.
different faith. They look down on people
No.
who are a different color. In fact,
I'm
we're
pretty
all
sure.
Americans. The only way we're going to bring this
You
country
think it's the Bill of
together
Rights?
is bring everybody together.
I think it's the Bill of
There's
Rights.
nothing we cannot
I'm
do.
certain it's
If
the Bill
we
of
do it
Rights.
together, we can take this on.
I could
and
be
we
wrong.
can defeat racism
Vice
in America.
President.
No, I might be
President
wrong.
Trump, sir.
During the Obama-Biden administration, there was tremendous division. There was
think it's
hatred. You look at
declaration.
Ferguson. You look at. You go to many places. Look at Oakland. Look what happened in Oakland. Look what happened in Baltimore. Look what happened. Frankly, it was more violent than what I'm even seeing now. But the reason is that the Democrats that run these cities don't want to talk like you about law and order. You still haven't mentioned. Are you in favor of law and order?
I'm in favor of law. You follow.
Are you in favor of law and order? Go ahead.
You asked a question, let him finish.
Law and order. Law and order with justice, where people get treated fairly. And the fact of the matter is, violent crime went down 17%, 15% in our administration. It's gone up on his watch.
Went down much more.
So actually, that's pretty interesting that he says violent crime went down this percentage during his administration, because overall in the entire world, violent crime has actually gone down. So that's not necessarily a reflection of his administration. It's more a reflection of a...
Yeah, we get it, Zach. Yeah, we get it.
Okay, I'm explaining to anyone that might watch, okay?
Governors, but in fact, there have been equivalent spikes
The rapper
in
Plaza
Republican-led
just
cities like Tulsa
if tonight
and
didn't
Fort
convince
Worth.
you to vote.
So the question is this really a party issue?
I think it's a party issue. You can bring in a couple of examples, but if you look at Chicago, what's going on in Chicago, where 53 people were shot and 8 died shot. If you look at New York, where it's going up like nobody's ever seen anything, the numbers are going up 100, 150, 200%. Crime. It is crazy what's going on. And he doesn't want to say law and order because he can't, because he'll lose his radical left supporters. And once he does that, it's over with. But if he ever got to run this country and they ran it the way he would want to run it, we would have, our suburbs would be gone. By the way, our suburbs would be gone. And you would see problems like if
He looks so weak.
Suburb, unless he took a wrong turn.
I know suburbs.
He would not. I was
Wait a minute.
I was raised in the suburbs. This is not 1950. All these dog whistles on racism don't work anymore.
What? The dog whistles on racism? What is he talking about?
He said he wouldn't know a suburb if he took the wrong turn. As there have been any time in the past. What really is a threat to the suburbs and their safety?
Joe Biden said Donald Trump wouldn't know a suburb unless he took a wrong
Oh my God. We're not on COVID anymore.
His refusal to do anything. That's why the suburbs are in
I
trouble.
do want to talk about this issue of law and order, though. And in the joint recommendation that came from the Biden-Bernie Sanders task force, you talked about, quote, reimagining policing. First of all, what does reimagining policing mean, and do you support?
It means.
Let me, if I might finish the question. What does reimagining policing mean, and do you support the Black Lives Matter call for
defunding the police,
for community control of policing?
Oh, come on, be a
Come
man
on,
and say
Chris
defund
Wallace.
the
That's a
police.
softball. That's an absolute
That's a
softball, and I'm drinking
You gotta
because of it.
say it.
Totally opposed to
You've got to
defunding the
say
police
it, dude.
officers. As a matter of fact, police.
Are you
No, you're not. That is a lie. He said on camera, on tape, that he was for
more assistance. They need
reallocating police resources. That means defunding. Whether or not he will say it or not is a different question, but that absolutely means defunding.
Like we had before, where the officers get to know the people.
Thank you, Donald Trump.
But people are oh my God, this answer by Joe Biden triggering me on an emotional level.
Defunding the police.
Just said it, bro.
He doesn't have
Let's
any
talk about
law
defunding the police.
support. He has no law enforcement
That's not
support.
true.
Almost
That's
nothing.
not.
Roy, who do you have? Name one group that supports you. Name one group that came.
You should have said name two.
Go ahead. Think. We have time.
We don't have time to do anything.
think
All right.
We don't have time to do anything.
I'm going to take back the moderator's role, and I want to get to another subject, which is the issue of protests in many cities.
Name one.
Name one.
In Portland,
Name
Oregon,
one,
especially, we had more than 100 straight days.
Dude, that would have been a good
protests,
hit back
which
if
I
you
think
could even
when you
name
talk
one.
about peaceful
Which you
protests,
can't.
Yeah, I know. That was a big miss by Joe Biden.
Mr. Vice President, you say that people who commit crimes should be held accountable. The question I have, though, is as the Democratic nominee, and earlier tonight you said that you are the Democratic Party right now,
I love that line. I heard that earlier.
Yeah, I know, it was great.
I was like, whoa, that was fucking. Like, you wouldn't say someone's authoritarian. I am the Democratic Party. I am the Senate.
That was so funny.
I am the
Democratic Party. I
am the Senate.
Yeah, that's exactly. Fucking Palpatine over here.
Fucking Palpatine.
He's looking that old too. He's got that Palpatine face.
Portland and
that Palpatine hair. All he's missing is the Palpatine robes.
Guard and knock off 100 days of riots.
I need someone to Photoshop Palpatine robes onto the
and have him say,
what? Did he just actually say they could take care of it if he stays out of the way?
They shot him, and for 3 days, Portland wouldn't do anything. I had to send in the U.S. Marshals. They took care of business.
Go ahead, sir.
And by the way, you know, his own former spokesperson said, you know, riots and chaos and violence help his cause. That's what this is all about.
I don't know who said that.
I do.
Who?
I think Kellyanne Conway.
I don't think she said that.
She said that. And so here's the, but here's the point. The point is that
Here's the point.
That's what he is, keeps trying to rile everything up. He doesn't want to calm things down. Instead of going in and talking to
saying that the riots help Trump is not the same as saying Trump is trying to incite riots.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Every single solitary
and
correlation does not equal causation.
Segment, I'm going to give you a minute to answer, sir. You have repeatedly criticized.
I have to answer his
If you want to switch seats here, we can very quickly do that.
No, you've been talking back and forth. I'm asking you.
I would love to end it.
Sir,
I would love to end it.
You know, if you want to switch seats,
we would very quickly.
We can do that, but I'm
send in the National Guard. It would be over. There'd be no problem.
Okay.
But they don't want to accept the National Guard.
You have repeatedly criticized the vice president for not specifically calling out Antifa.
Yes, this is a good question.
Groups. But are you willing tonight to condemn white supremacists? And
He's done that, Chris.
So many times.
He should just say yes.
Down and not
Just say one word.
Yeah. Violence in a number of these cities, as we saw in Kenosha and as we've seen in Portland. Are you prepared to specifically?
Wait. As we saw in Kenosha.
I would say almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing.
So what are you saying?
I'm willing to do anything. I want to see peace.
Then do it, sir.
Say it. Do it. Say it.
Do you want to call him? What do you want to call him? Give me a name. Give me a name.
Why isn't he answering the question on white supremacy? Why is he dodging it?
Stand back.
Come on, Donald
But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left-wing. This is a left-wing problem.
White supremacy.
No. That's not what he said. He said the largest rising.
That's what his FBI director said.
Well, then you know what?
No, we're done, sir. We're moving on to the next. We're moving.
When a bat hits you over the head, that's not an idea.
Everybody in your administration tells you the truth has a bad idea.
He should have just said yes. That was a miss.
Yeah, that was a miss for Trump.
He should have just said, yeah, they're bad.
He said sure
we're
in the
done?
beginning, and that's all he should have said.
Yeah.
Are you
Well, he
willing
didn't
to
even get that
condemn-
out.
It is generally a
Chris Wallace
referendum
didn't let
on
him
his
speak.
record. But Vice President
He didn't
Biden, you
even
like
get
to
to say
quote
it.
one of your dad's sayings, which is, "Don't compare me to the Almighty, compare me to the alternative." And in this case, sir,
God,
you
now
are
Twitter's
the
gonna
alternative.
explode. Donald Trump didn't condemn white
At both of your
supremacy.
records,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask each of you.
Yeah, that's exactly
Why
what the
should
headline's going to
voters
be.
elect you president over your opponent in this segment? President Trump, you go first. 2 minutes.
Because there has never been
his
an
administration
administration
was
or
pissed.
president
Why didn't
who
you
has done
condemn
more than I've done in a period of 3.5 years.
It's like
And that's
Donald Trump.
despite
Dude,
the
we know you're not
impeachment
racist.
hoax.
Just say
And
sure.
you saw what happened today
Say
with
yes.
Hillary Clinton, where it was
Just
a
say
whole
yeah.
All you have to
con
say.
job.
Okay.
Just say
But
yes, I
despite
condemn
all
white
of those
supremacy.
things, where I had to fight
He should have just
both
said, yeah,
flanks
I've
and
done that
behind me
before.
and above.
That's
There
not
has
He
never
has
been
done.
an
He's done it plenty of
administration
times.
that's done what I've
He
done.
did that.
The
He
greatest
did that
before
in
COVID came in, the
the
greatest economy in history,
in the
lowest
supposed
unemployment
thing where he
numbers.
didn't.
Everything was good.
Yeah.
Everything was going. And by the way, there was unity going to happen. People were calling me for the first time in years. They were calling, and they were saying it's time maybe. And then what
Should be a
happened? We
member
got
of the
hit, but now
Space
we're
Force.
building it back
I don't
up
even know
again.
what that is.
A rebuilding of the military, including Space Force and all of the other things.
Space Force.
I want to be a
I'm
member
for
of
it.
the space military.
I'm for it.
308,000 people
I love
died
it.
because they didn't
Station
have
me
proper
at the
healthcare.
International
It was a
Space
mess.
Station.
And we
I
now
would
got a
defend us from
91%
It's so
all
ludicrous.
rating
Only
extra
Trump can come up
terrestrial.
with it.
vets. We take care of our vets, but we've rebuilt our military. The job that we've done, and I'll tell you something, some people say maybe the most important.
Yep.
By the end of the first term, I'll have approximately 300
I can't get
federal
past that
judges
Trump
and Court of
wasn't there.
Appeals judges, 300, and hopefully
Yeah, that was
three
dumb as
great
fuck.
Supreme Court
That
judges,
made me so
justices.
Well, the
That
thing is, he
a
started to say it,
record
and then
Yeah,
Chris
and then
Wallace
Chris didn't
didn't
give him a
finish his
chance.
question.
Yeah, and Chris kept interrupting him. So, I mean, that's Chris inserting himself into the debate, which is something I hate.
Judges
But he should have
He was
just
gonna
said,
say sure.
to your original question,
judges.
yes,
That's like
I
you
condemn
just
white
don't do that.
supremacists.
They left 128 openings.
He made that
and if
question
I
way
were a
too
member
long.
of his
Yeah.
party,
That was dumb.
because they have a little different philosophy.
It was just like, do you
I'd say
confirm
if
white?
you left
Do you condemn white supremacists?
us
It should have been two
128
questions for
openings,
sure. Hold on
you
just a
can't be a
second,
good
fellas.
president. You can't be a good
I don't
vice
like how
president.
long his
But I wanna
questions
thank
are.
you because it gives
No,
us
It just
the
leads to
ability
these long
to
answers.
probably be above
You're like
Yeah.
9
By the
questions
end
in
of
one.
this term,
Time, sir.
300
Got to be
judges. It's a
short and
record.
concise questions.
Looking at both your records, why should voters elect you president as opposed to President Trump?
this
You have 2
president-
minutes uninterrupted.
Under this president, we become weaker,
Nope.
sicker,
Nope.
poorer,
Nope.
more divided, and more violent.
Possibly.
When I was vice president, we
Definitely
inherited
more
a recession.
violent.
I was asked to fix it. I did. We left him a booming economy.
No, you didn't.
And he caused
No,
a
you
recession.
didn't.
With regard to being weaker, the fact
No, you
is
didn't.
that
The growth
I've
rate was
gone
at
head-to-head with
2%.
Putin and made it clear to him we're not going to take any of his stuff.
That's
He's
incorrect.
Putin's puppy. He
Obama's
still
caught on a
refuses
hot
to
mic
even say
saying,
anything
I can have more
about
flexibility after the
bounty on
election.
heads of American soldiers.
Your son got
And-
$3.5 million.
That's right.
He brought up Hunter Biden again. I have to do a shot.
Mr. President,
Another
your
shot.
campaign agreed to
This is my third shot tonight, guys.
2-minute answers.
I'm going
I'm so sad for you.
Your side agreed to it.
I'm sad for myself.
Why don't you observe what your
This
campaign agreed to
sucks.
as a ground rule, okay, sir?
He never keeps his word.
I'm enjoying my shot.
He never keeps his word. That's a lie.
That was a rhetorical question.
Can you
Go
add
ahead,
back
sir.
30 seconds?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
you may have.
All right.
Zane, you ever had Rumple?
So, thirdly, we're poor. The billionaires have gotten much more wealthy by a tune of
Wow.
$300 to $400 billion more just since
Yeah, that one
COVID.
went straight to the
You
dome.
and the
Holy
home,
shit.
You got less. You're in more trouble than you were
Zach,
before.
you gonna yak, dude?
In terms
He
of
is. He's about to yak. I can
I'm
hear
not
it.
going to yak.
When we were in office, there were 15%
Zach,
less
dude.
violence in America than there is
That
today.
doesn't sound like me.
He's president of the United States.
Zach,
It's
it
on his
absolutely
watch.
sounds
And with
like
regard
you.
to-
What are you
Okay,
talking
Jared,
what, I don't-
Mr. Throw Up in my backyard.
We can't be this way. And speaking
never
of
happened.
my
Can
son,
anybody
the
tell
way
me
you
what,
talk
like,
about
the bottom
military, the way you talk about them being
Tyron,
losers and
like,
being,
what the fuck those great
just being
things are
suckers.
supposed to
My
be?
son was in
I have no
Iraq.
idea what you're
He
talking
spent
about. I'm
a
watching
year
ABC
there.
News.
He got
Oh,
the,
not
He
CBS?
got the Bronze
No.
Star. He got the Conspicuous Service Medal.
CBS
he
looks
was not
freaking
a loser.
weird.
He was a patriot, and the people left behind there were heroes.
Really?
And I resent.
Are you talking
like
about
hell.
Hunter? Are you talking about
I'm
Hunter?
talking about my son, Bo Biden. You're talking about.
I don't know, Bo. I know
No one's
got
tweeting
thrown-
about Donald
Hunter
Trump
got
not
thrown out of the
defending
military. He
or
was
not
thrown
condemning
out,
white supremacy
dishonorably
yet.
discharged.
That's not
I
true.
think it's
It
announced
took
that.
10 years.
Oh boy.
And he didn't have a job
Mentally
until
Graham
you
tweeted
became
about
vice
it.
president. Once you
None of
became
that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine,
Moderator,
in
will you
China,
condemn white
in
supremacy,
Moscow,
Trump?
and
Eh.
areas of other places.
I'm not taking another shot for Hunter Biden because he already brought it up. So
Son, like
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
it.
people, like a lot of people we know at home. had
he's
a-
looking into the camera again. God damn
God
it!
damn it, dude.
I'm so fucking
Like a lot of people we know at home. You know the people at home. We're talking about the people at home.
Look at the people, right?
They've already been
Totally discredited.
We've already been through this. I think
Somebody
the American
tweeted,
people
how
would
are these
rather
our
hear
only
about more
options?
substantial.
I gotta look at the Twitter. Like, what's going on?
Moderator, sir, I'm gonna make
I
it-
follow a lot of libertarians on Twitter, so they're all probably all pissed Joe Jorgensen's not in the debate.
Mentally tweeted about the white supremacy, not
That
surprised.
committee said it wasn't worth taxpayers' money. That report was written for political reasons.
You know, I'd like to talk about climate
So
change.
would I.
The first tweet I see is
fires in the West are
so
raging
the first
now.
two
They
tweets
have
I see are
burned
Trump
I
is
don't give a
killing
fuck.
him,
They have
but also looking like a bully, which I
hundreds
agree
of
with.
thousands of people.
And then the
When
second
state
tweet
officials
is
there
Jerry
blame
Springer
the
should have
fires on
moderated
climate
this
change, Mr.
debate.
President, you said, I don't think the science.
Which I also agree with.
4 years,
Oh, hell yeah.
You have pulled the U.S. out of the Paris Climate Accord. You have rolled back a number of Obama environmental records. What do you believe about the science of climate change, and what will you do in the next 4 years to confront it?
I want crystal clean water and air. I want beautiful, clean air. We have now the lowest carbon. If you look at our numbers right now.
This is a good point. This is a really good point.
Absolutely
I haven't
true.
destroyed our businesses.
It
Our
is
businesses
absolutely
aren't
true.
put out of commission. If you look at the Paris Accord, it was a disaster from our standpoint. And
Yeah.
people are actually very happy about what's going on because our businesses are doing well. As far as the fires are concerned, you need forest management in addition to everything
100%.
else.
Wow.
The forest
This
floor
is really, really good. This is fantastic, actually. I'm really surprised he's done this well in this question.
everything else. You drop
You
a
need
cigarette
forest
in there, the whole
management.
forest
You
burns
need
down.
control of
You've got to have
burns.
forest management.
What do you
You've got to have
believe?
cuts.
What do you believe about the science of climate change, sir?
I believe
Okay,
that we
great
have
that
to
you
do
asked him
everything
that
we
question.
can to have immaculate air, immaculate water, and do whatever else we can that's good. You know, we're planting 1 billion trees, the Billion Tree Project, and it's very
Do you
exciting for a
believe
lot of people.
that human pollution?
This is a leading
greenhouse
question I'm
gas
drinking.
emissions contributes to the global warming of
I
this
think
planet?
a lot of things do, but I think to an extent, yes. I think to an extent, yes. But I also think
That's
we have
why
to
is
do better
like
management
fuck
of our
Biden. I
forests.
want to punch him right in the
Every
mouth.
year,
The
I
fucking
get the
smirks.
call,
Every
California's
time he
burning.
talks. Every time
California's
Trump
I
opens
feel like
his
this is
mouth,
the
he
same reaction you had during the Paul Ryan debate back in
Oh, it was
2006
absolutely the same
2012.
one. But the
You
thing
wouldn't
about
be
the Paul
getting
Ryan
those
debate is
calls.
Paul
You
Ryan
know, in
actually
Europe,
was
they
a lot
live their
smarter than
forest
Trump.
cities.
Yeah.
They
Issues.
forest cities.
And
They
he was killing
maintain
Biden.
their forests.
Biden
They
just treated
manage
him
their
like a
forests.
little kid.
Yeah.
I was with the
Oh,
head
maybe I
of
want to
a
punch him in
major
the
country.
fucking face.
It's a forest city. He said, "Sir, we have trees that are far more. They ignite much easier than California. There shouldn't be that problem." I spoke with the governor about it. I'm getting along very well with the governor. But I said, you know, at some
All right,
point,
right back. I need to
you
get some more
can't
beer.
every year have hundreds of thousands of acres of land just burned to the ground. That's burning down because of a lack of
But,
management.
sir, if you believe in the science of climate change, why have you rolled back the Obama Clean Power Plan, which limited carbon emissions in power plants? Why have you relaxed?
Because it was driving energy prices through the sky.
Why have you relaxed fuel economy standards that are going to create more pollution?
He was just
from
answering the
cars?
question.
Not really, because what's happening is the car is much less expensive and it's a much safer car, and you're talking about a tiny difference. And then what would happen, because of the cost of the car, you would have at least double and triple the number of cars purchased. We have the old slugs out there that are 10, 12 years old. If you did that, the car would be safer. It would be much cheaper by
But in the case of
$3,500.
California, they've simply
No, but you
ignored
would
your-
take a lot of
your
cars
roadmap.
off the market because people would be able to afford a car. Now, and by the way, we're going to see how that turns out. But a lot of people agree with me, many people. The car has gotten so expensive because they have computers all over the place for an extra little bit of gasoline. And, and I'm okay with electric cars too. I think I'm all for electric cars. I've given big incentives for electric cars. But what they've done in California is just crazy.
Vice President Biden, I'd like you to respond to the president's climate change record, but I
The
also want
hiccups
to
have
ask
started
you about
as soon as I
sir,
stood
you
up.
proposed $2 trillion in green jobs. You talk about new limits, not abolishing, but new limits on fracking, ending the use of fossil fuels to generate electricity by 2035, and zero net emission of greenhouse gases by 2050.
Zach, are you doing a
President
comprehensive
says a
review
lot of
of
these
this
things
debate?
would tank the economy and cost millions of jobs.
He's
What'd
absolutely
you say?
wrong, number one.
Are you
Number
doing a
two,
comprehensive
if
review
in
of
fact,
this debate?
during our administration, the
I was thinking about doing like a post.
They're going to bring down the cost of renewable energy to
Well, you're
cheaper
mid-answer.
than or as cheap as coal and gas and oil. Nobody's going to build another coal-fired plant in America. No one's going to build another oil-fired plant in America. They're going to move to renewable energy, number one. Number two, we're going to make sure that we are able to take the federal
Ooh,
fleet
he's
and
got the
turn it into a
hiccups.
fleet that's
I already said
run
that.
on their electric vehicles. Making sure that we can do that, we're going to put 500,000 charging stations and all of the highways that we're going to be building in the future. We're going to build an economy that, in fact, is going trying to provide for the ability of us to take 4 million buildings and make sure that they, in fact, are weatherized in a way that, in fact, they'll emit significantly less gas and oil because the heat will not be going out. There's so many things that we can do now to create thousands and thousands of jobs. We can get
through the
to
public
net
dime.
zero in terms of energy production by 2035.
That's
Not
called
only
picking
costing
winners
people
and
jobs,
losers.
creating jobs.
Yes, it
creating
is.
millions of good-paying jobs, not $15 an hour, but prevailing wage, by having a new infrastructure that in fact is green. And the first thing I will do, I will rejoin the Paris Accord. I will join the
Bad
Paris
idea.
Accord because with us out of it, look what's happening. It's all falling apart. And talk about someone who has no
I think Donald
relationship
Trump should just
with
smirk
foreign
more.
policy. Brazil, the rainforests of Brazil are being torn down, are being ripped down. More carbon is
What do we
absorbed in
have to
that
do with the
rainforest than
Brazilian
every bit of
rainforest?
carbon that's emitted in the United
Yeah.
States. Instead of doing something about that, I would be
That has
gathering
nothing
up
to do
and
with the
making sure
United
we had
States, and it
the
shouldn't.
countries of the world coming up with $20 billion and say, here's $20 billion. Stop tearing down the forest. And if you don't, then you're going to have significant economic consequences.
What about the argument that President Trump basically says that you have to balance environmental interests and economic interests, and he's drawn his line?
Well, he hadn't drawn a line. He still, for example, make sure that he wants to make sure that methane's not a problem. You can now emit more methane without it being a problem. Methane. This is a guy who says that you don't have to have mileage standards for automobiles that exist now. This is a guy
That's not
who
true.
says that the fact that it's all true. And here's the deal.
Talking about the Green New Deal, and it's not $2 billion or $20 billion, as you said. It's $100 trillion.
I'm talking about
where they want to rip down buildings and rebuild the building.
No,
it's the
that is
dumbest,
not-
most
that
ridiculous.
is not-
Where airplanes are out of business, where two-car systems are out.
Yeah,
where
he
they
said
take
zero
out
carbon.
cows to-
Did you
know,
just?
that's
But
not
did
true
you hear what he
either,
said
right?
earlier?
This is
Zero
a-
carbon
this
emissions
is
by
a
2050.
100 trillion.
That
That's
you
more
end the
money
airline
than
industry.
our-
Yeah, you end the
Yeah,
airline
that's
industry, you end fracking in Pennsylvania, which is very important.
Because wait a minute, sir. I actually have studied your plan, and it includes upgrading 4 million buildings, weatherizing 2 million homes over
God
4
damn it.
years, building 1.5 million energy-efficient homes. So the question becomes, the president is saying, I think some people who support the president would say that sounds like it's going to cost a lot of money and hurt the economy.
What it's going to do is going to create thousands and millions of
No,
jobs.
it's not.
Thousands and millions.
Let him finish, sir.
Thousands and millions.
It's also going to eliminate.
The fact is, it's going to create
Thousands of
millions of good-paying jobs, and
Thousands
there's tax
of
incentives to people for people to weatherize, which he wants to get rid of. It's going to make the
hilarious.
economy
You
much safer
made
than
I love the
what
way he
we're paying
talks.
now to deal with the hurricanes. With it,
So endearing. It's like it's like the crazy uncle.
Maybe we should drop a nuclear weapon
just
on
keeps
them.
talking.
I never said that.
That's-
Yes, he did. He did say that. He did say
here's the
drop a
deal.
nuke into a hurricane to stop
We're in a
it.
position where we can create hard, good jobs by making sure the environment is clean and we all are in better shape. We spend billions of dollars now, billions of
gotta
dollars
fight the
on
storms, ladies and
floods,
gentlemen.
hurricanes, rising seas. We're in real trouble. Look what's happened just in the Midwest with
Make
these
it natural.
Is he
storms.
saying? Is he saying that he
Entire
can actually?
sections
Is
of
he
counties
literally
in
saying he can
Iowa.
control the
That
weather?
didn't happen
That's
before.
what he said.
because
He's
of
saying he
the-
can if you give him enough time.
He's saying under me.
Problem. We, in
When
Under
they
me,
have
the
hurricane.
the rest
the
of the world,
hurricanes will
we gotta
stop.
get them to come along. That's
Under
what we have
me,
to
the
get
hurricanes will
back
stop.
Back into.
Which is
That's
hilarious
my next-
because
All right, John,
honestly,
That's my next Facebook post.
as someone that lives in
Biden.
Florida, the hurricanes
Biden.
have not even really hit.
Russia does, India does,
It's gonna
they
say
all do.
Biden,
We're
colon,
supposed to be good. And by the
Under
way,
me, the
he
hurricanes
made a
will
couple of
stop.
statements. The
That's
Green
my
New
next
Deal
Facebook
is
post.
$100 trillion.
That is
not
not
20
my
billion.
plan.
That's
The Green
well,
New
you want to
Deal
rebuild every
is
building.
not my plan.
I want to rebuild
All right,
every
If he knew
You have to-
anything
wait, no,
about,
no, wait.
if he knew
Gentlemen,
He
anything
made a
about,
statement
Gentlemen.
about the military. He said I said something about the military. He and his friends made it up, and then they went with it. I never said it.
Okay.
That is
What
not
he
true.
did
Sir,
is he
you're done in
said
this segment.
he called
Mr.
the
Vice-
military
Mr. Vice President,
stupid bastards.
I
And he
did
said
not
it on
say
tape. He said
That's a misrepresentation by Trump.
I would never say that.
Yeah, it is.
play it.
Go ahead. Mr. Vice President, answered his final question.
The final question is, I can't remember which of all his rantings.
Oh my God.
But, and about the economy and about this question of what it's going to cost.
The economy.
I mean, the Green New Deal and the idea of what your environmental changes will do.
The Green New Deal will pay for itself as we move forward.
He just said it.
We're not going to build plants that.
He just said he wants the Green New Deal.
Yes, he did. I keep hiccuping. It's pissing me off. I'm gonna drink some more beer to get away the hiccups.
Oh, well, that's a big statement.
Get away the hiccups.
You just left the radical left.
I support the Biden plan that I put forward.
Dude, I have
the
no
Biden
idea.
plan, which is
Boy,
different
Joe
than
Biden is walking a line right now
Deal.
between
Gentlemen, final segment.
the two sides of his party.
Election integrity. As we meet tonight, millions of Americans are receiving mail-in ballots.
He
or
just
going
said
to
the Green
vote
New Deal
early.
will pay for itself.
How
Yeah, he did.
confident should we be that this will be a fair election, and what are you prepared to do over the next 5+ weeks, because it'll not only be to Election Day, but also
He's going to bring up
counting
those
some
votes
ballots,
that were
mail-in
thrown
ballots
out.
after Election Day. What are you prepared to do to reassure the American people that the next president will be the legitimate winner of this election?
Okay, there
In
is
this
a
final
right
segment,
answer and there
Mr.
is a
Vice
wrong
President,
answer.
you go first.
Prepared to let people vote. They should go to iwillvote.com, decide how they're going to vote, when they're going to vote, and what means by which they're going to vote. His own Homeland Security Director, and as well as the FBI Director, says there is no
Go to the
evidence
freaking
at all
polls,
that mail-in
dude.
ballots are a
Freaking
source
stupid.
of being manipulated.
Fake
That's
answer.
a false statement.
They said
That is a false
The fact
statement.
is that
So
there are going to be millions of
dumb.
people because of COVID that are going to be voting by mail-in ballots, like he does, by the way. He sits behind the Resolute desk and sends his ballot to Florida.
Fucking
Number one.
idiot,
Number
Joe
two, we're going to make sure that those people who want to vote in person are able to vote because enough poll watchers are there to make sure they can socially distance. The polls are open.
And like with Ilhan Omar's people telling them who to vote for.
And this is all
Please
about
bring that
trying to
up.
dissuade people
Please
from
bring that
voting.
up, Trump.
If they bring
Now,
up Project
since he said
Veritas'
that.
video, I will take a shot right
That's
now.
not going to be legitimate. Show up
Come
and
on,
vote.
Trump.
You will determine the outcome
Bring
of
it
this
up.
election.
Dude,
Vote.
Stop talking into the camera. I'm sick of it. I don't care. I don't care what you have to say when you talk into the camera. It doesn't.
This is gaslighting me.
Because
This is
you
gaslighting
will,
me
he
hard.
cannot stop you from being
It makes me
able
want
to
to
determine
like.
the outcome
It makes
of
me
this
want to put a
election.
red dot
And
on
in
his
terms of
forehead.
whether or not when the votes are counted, and they're all counted, that will be accepted. If I win, that will be accepted. If I lose, that'll be accepted. But by the way, if in fact he says he's not sure what he's going to accept, well, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter, because if we get the votes, it's going to be all over.
He's so
He's going to go. He
disingenuous.
can't stay in power. It won't happen. It won't happen. So vote. Just make sure you understand you have it in your control to determine what this country is going to look like the next 4 years.
This
Is it going to
this
change?
election
You
is
get
going to the
4 more
Supreme
years
Court.
of these
I'm calling it.
lies.
Hey, do we know if Ronald Reagan
when
froze his
I
head like
listened to
Walt
Joe-
Disney?
Bush
so we
v.
can
Gore
call it?
2.0.
Transition.
Or-
Guys.
There's been no transition from when I won. I won that election. And if you look at crooked Hillary Clinton, if you look at all of the different people, there was no
He used a
transition
nickname, that's a
because
drink.
They came after me trying to do a coup. They came after me spying on my campaign. They started from the day I won and even before I won. From the day I came down the escalator with our First Lady, they were a disaster. They were a disgrace to our country. And we've caught them. We've caught them all. We've got it all on tape. We've caught them all. And by the way, you gave the idea for the Logan Act against General Flynn. You better take a look at that, because we caught you in a sense. And President Obama was sitting in the office. He knew about it too. So don't tell me about a free transition. As far as the ballots are
That's
concerned,
true.
it's a disaster. A solicited ballot. Okay, solicited is okay. You're soliciting, you're asking, they send it back, you send it back. I did that. If you have an unsolicited, they're sending millions of ballots all over the country.
That's absolutely
There's
true.
fraud.
Yep.
They found them in creeks. They found some with the name Trump, just happened to have the name Trump just the other day in a waste paper basket. They're being sent all over the place. They sent 2 in a Democrat area. They sent out 1,000 ballots. Everybody got 2 ballots. This is going to be a fraud like you've never seen. The other thing, it's nice on November 3rd, you're watching and you see who won the election. And I think we're going to do well because people are really happy with the job we've done. But you know what? we won't know. We might not know for months.
Yep, that's
because
great-
these ballots
great
are going to be
answer.
all over. Take a look at what happened in Manhattan. Take a look at what happened in New Jersey. Take a look at what happened in Virginia and other places. They're not losing 2%, 1%, which, by the way, is too much. An election could be won or lost with that. They're losing 30 and 40%.
Wow.
It's a fraud, and it's
This
a
is a
shame.
really good
And
answer.
Can you imagine where they
Really
say,
good answer.
You have to have your ballot in by November 10th.
Oh,
November
immediately
10th.
after
That means
President
that's
Trump makes a
7
good
days
point, sir, it's been
after
2 minutes.
the election, in theory,
Fucking
should have been
filthy.
announced.
Okay.
We have major states with that,
Sir,
all run by
2 minutes
Democrats.
is 2 minutes.
All run by
You're-
Democrats. It's
President Trump,
it's a rigged election.
You're going to be able to continue. You have been charging for months that mail-in balloting is going to be a disaster. You say it's.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I haven't been this drunk since college.
But in 2018, the last midterm election,
Shut the fuck up, Zach.
31 million people voted mail-in voting. That was a quarter, more than a quarter of all the voters that year cast their ballots by mail. Now that millions of mail-in ballots have gone out, what are you going to do about it? And are you counting on the Supreme Court, including a Justice Barrett, to settle any dispute?
Yeah, I think I'm counting on them to look at the ballots, definitely. I don't think I hope we don't need them in terms of the election itself. But for the ballots, I think so. Because what's happening is incredible. I read today, where at least 1% of the ballots for 2016 were invalidated. They take them, we don't like them, we don't like them.
But
They
what are you
throw
going to
them
do
out
about it?
left
There
and
are
right.
millions of ballots going out
What
right
you
now.
do
What
is
are
you
gonna
go and
do?
vote. You do a solicited ballot,
No,
and that's
I
okay,
know
or
your
you go and
complaint.
vote.
I'm asking you about the fact that millions of people.
You go and vote. You go and
No,
vote.
but
Like
I'm
they,
saying is, what are
like
you
they
gonna do
used
about
to
the
in
fact
the
that
old.
millions of people.
You either do, Chris, a solicited ballot where you're
Yep.
sending it in, they're sending it back, and you're sending.
By the way,
They
Dr.
have
Fauci
mailmen with
said
lots of it. Did you see
you
what's
can
going
vote
on?
in
Take a look
person.
at West
So if
Virginia,
you
mailmen
want to
selling
vote,
the
vote in
ballots.
person.
They're being sold. They're being dumped in rivers. This is a horrible thing for our country.
Oh, well,
this is not going to end well.
I don't know if he didn't explicitly mention Project Veritas' video, so I'm not going to drink for that. But he did say sold.
Decade or more, 5, including 2 Republican states. And you don't have to solicit the ballot. It's sent to you. It's sent to your home. What we're saying is, they're saying is that it has
It's
to be
incorrect.
a postmark by the time, by election day. If it doesn't get in till the 7th, 8th, 9th, it still should be counted.
Incorrect.
He's just afraid of counting the votes because of the outcome.
You're wrong.
No, I want to continue with you on this.
love that.
Vice President Biden.
Chris, he's so wrong when he makes a statement like that.
Excuse me.
He
Vice
is.
President Biden, the biggest
Trump is
problem, in
absolutely
fact,
correct.
over the years with mail-in voting has not been fraud historically. It has been that sizable numbers, sometimes hundreds of thousands of ballots are thrown out because they have not been properly filled out, or there is some other irregularity, or they missed the deadline. So the question I have is, are you concerned that the Supreme Court with a Justice Barrett will settle any dispute?
I'm concerned that any court would settle this because here's the deal. When you file.
So
when you
now
get a ballot
Biden
and
is
you
saying
fill
that
it
the
out,
Supreme Court
you're supposed to have an affidavit.
would
If
be
you didn't know, you
illegitimized
have
by
someone say that this is me. You should
by
be able to,
deciding the
if in fact
election.
you can verify that's you when
So
the-
he's
before the
basically
ballot
saying that
is thrown
Bush
out,
v. Gore is
that's
stupid.
sufficient to be able to count the ballot because someone made a mistake and not dotting the correct I. Who they voted for, testify, say who they voted for.
Here's an idea.
Say it's
Just
you.
vote in
That is
person.
totally
Yeah,
legitimate.
like Dr. Fauci said you can do.
Senate and swamping the system. You know it can't be done. You know it can't. And already there's been
so now
fraud.
Mail service delivers
Wait a minute, gentlemen.
185
Final
million
question.
pieces of mail a day.
In 8 states, we can keep talking. In 8 states, election workers are prohibited currently by law, 8 states, from even beginning to process ballots, even take them out of the envelopes and flatten them until election day. That means that it's likely, because there's going to be a huge increase in mail-in balloting, that we are not
Which
going
is
to know
dumb.
on election night.
If you don't vote in person, you're
It
dumb.
could be days, it could be weeks, until we find out who the new president is. So first for you, sir, finally for the vice president, I hope neither of you will interrupt the other. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm during this extended period, not to engage in any civil unrest, and will you pledge tonight that you will not declare victory until the election has been independently certified. President Trump,
I'm
go first.
urging my supporters to go into the polls and watch very carefully, because that's what has to happen. I am urging them to do it. As you know, today there was a big problem. In
That's actually a bad
Philadelphia, they
answer
went
by
in to
Trump.
watch. They're called poll
It is.
watchers, a very safe, very nice thing. They were thrown out. They weren't allowed to watch. You know why? Because bad things happen in Philadelphia. Bad things. And I am urging my people. I hope it's going to be a fair election. If it's a fair election, I am 100% on board. But if I see tens of thousands of ballots being manipulated, I can't go along with that. And I'll tell you what.
Horrible answer.
That's a horrible answer.
It means you have a fraudulent election. You're sending out 80 million ballots. They're not equipped to. These people aren't equipped to handle it. Number one. Number two, they cheat. They cheat. Hey, they found ballots in a waste paper basket 3 days ago, and they all had the name military ballots. They were military. They all had the name Trump on them.
Vice President
You think
Biden,
that's good?
Vice President Biden, final question for you. Will you urge your supporters to stay calm while the vote is counted?
He's going
will
to.
You pledge not to declare victory until the election is independently certified?
Yes, and here's the deal. They count the ballots, as you pointed out. Some of these ballots
Biden wins on this
can't
point.
even be open
Yeah.
until election day.
100%.
And there's thousands of ballots
Biden won
gonna
on
take time
this,
to do it. And by the way,
because
our
Trump gets his
military,
ego
they've been
too,
voting by
dude,
ballots
just a
for
little
since
too
the Civil
egotistical.
War.
Can't just
Yep.
answer a simple
And
fucking
that's
question.
what's
But I
gonna
mean, to be
happen.
fair,
Why
he
was
did
it
the same
not-
thing in
why is it for
2016.
them somehow not fraudulent?
Oh yeah.
It's the
Oh, I'm
same
saying
process.
that's just who the man
It's
is.
honest.
Yeah, it
no
is who
one
the man
has
is.
established at all that there is fraud related to mail-in ballots. That somehow it's a fraudulent process.
It's already been
Well, it is a
established.
fraudulent
Take a look at
process.
Carolyn Maloney's
It is a
race.
fraudulent process. You're just handing out ballots unsolicitedly.
Yeah.
Unsolicited.
Go ahead.
He has
Tim
no idea what
Pool's
he's talking
cat
about.
got a
Here's
ballot.
The deal. The fact is, I will
You know,
accept
like-
it, and he will too. You know why?
No,
Because
sorry. Tim
once
Pool
the
got a
winner is
ballot
declared
sent
after
to
all
him
the- all the
with
ballots are
somebody
counted,
else's
all the
name on
votes
it.
are counted. That'll
Yeah,
be the end of it.
you need to be a
That'll
little
the
more
end of it.
specific.
And if it's me,
Just
Yeah,
saying
and
Tim
then-
Pool's
fact,
and
cat.
then-
if it's not me,
And then someone
I'll
got their
support the
had their
outcome.
cat
and I'll
got a
be a
mail-in
president not
ballot.
just for
Are you? Wait, seriously?
Democrats. I'll be a president
I'm
for
dead
Democrats
ass,
and
dude.
Republicans.
Send me the
A
video
ballot
after.
sent to
I wanna
somebody's
say
cat.
honest
Cat, I
ballot
will.
count.
Gentlemen,
We-
you say that's
I
the
will.
end of it. This is the end of this debate.
Honest ballot count.
We're
And I
going to
think
leave
he
it
does
there.
And not only that, Zach, guess
To
what?
be
What?
continued as
It was a
more
dead cat.
debates. Vice President Biden, it's been an interesting hour and a half. I want to thank you both.
I'm not even joking. It was a dead
Oh my
cat.
God! Send me the information on that after
And
this
the Cleveland
ends.
Clinic for hosting this
I
event.
will.
The next debate, sponsored by the Commission on Presidential Debates, will be 1 week from tomorrow.
Is this-
October
is that
7th
it?
At the University
I think
of
that's
Utah
it.
in Salt Lake City. The two vice presidential nominees, Vice President Mike
Yeah,
Pence and
dude, I
Senator
don't-
Kamala Harris, will debate at
Yeah,
9
that's
p.m.
it.
I don't
Eastern
think
that night.
I don't
Hope
think
you
there was
watch.
a clear cut.
Yeah, it's
winner.
pretty much it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think that was a clear-cut winner on that one either.
Well, it is hard
I
to
think
know
they're
where to
both
start.
Alrighty.
I'm not sure how people are gonna
I'm with you.
feel
Trump
about that
couldn't
to be
answer a
continued at the
an
end.
easy question.
And people have to make their
When
own
it was a
judgments.
softball,
More
he made it
importantly-
hard.
Handled themselves
More
tonight.
When it was a
importantly-
softball,
They made
he
their
made it
case,
hard.
offered
And when it
plans
was a
for the
hard ball,
future, who told
he
the
made it
truth.
soft.
And
Trump,
All right,
dude.
so
Condemn
Jared, if you want to
white
jump
supremacy.
off
several days and weeks, but I have to speak
or
personally
whatever,
here as somebody
you
who's watched
can,
presidential debates for 40 years,
because I want to
as
kind of
somebody
do
who's
some
moderated
post-debate
presidential
stuff.
Debates, as someone who's prepared candidates for
I
presidential
wanna be-
debates.
Wait,
I
are
wanna be a
you?
part of
Are
this
you? Are we
presidential
listening
debates.
to
That
like
was
what are
the worst
post-debate stuff?
presidential
What are you
debate
talking
I've
about?
Because
ever
I'm
seen.
I want
I'm
to
streaming
post
right
in
now.
my life, a lot
Oh,
more
you're streaming
heat
right now?
than
Yeah.
like
Wait, so
over
am I
some
talking on your live
98
stream?
minutes.
Yeah.
I want to go to the room right now. John Kroll, you were there in the room. You covered the
Holy
president.
shit.
Your thoughts?
I want to be famous, dude.
Hi, YouTube.
George, the debate was a total mess. It was a mess
Hello,
of
YouTube.
interruptions.
So okay,
Dude,
you want to
also,
hang
I
around,
wanna
Jared?
post
I was in
debate.
touch with some people
Hell yeah, I'll
on the
post
floor.
debate. I'm excited.
who described
Alrighty.
told
So
me that
what
John-
do you guys think of the debate?
Zach, you go first. You're smarter than me.
What? Me go first?
Yes.
So I think a number of points were hit that were solid for Trump. Like when I was saying hammer and a nail, hammer and a nail, hammer and a nail over, he just
Facts.
kept pounding. And so there were some answers that he gave that were just absolutely perfect. The problem is the man can't get out of his own damn way on easy questions.
Yeah.
So like whenever he was asked, "Do you condemn white supremacy?" he was about to say sure,
before the question had finished being asked.
Yeah.
And then he started rambling off into like, "Good, it's the far left. It's the far left." It's like, dude, you were that close to saying the right answer.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat, and you could have added that stuff on, but like you didn't get it out there. You didn't spit it out, and so like that was the issue. And then obvious on that last point, he should have just said, "Yeah, you know what? If we get to the end and decide it, I'll be accepted." But the thing is like, and then he could have gone on to the whole mail-in voting is stupid thingy.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, he wasn't. I mean, it just didn't seem like on those questions, which should have been easy. He should have known going into this, you are going to be asked those two questions. Those were the hot moments leading up to this debate, and he should have known, I've got to say this, and he didn't say that. So that's a
I think
big
he lost
loss.
a lot. I think he lost a lot of votes, honestly. Because
Yeah,
I mean, that's a hot
those
topic
two,
for a
because
lot
those are
of
going to
people.
be that is Democratic fodder, my friend. That is going to be every Democratic ad on YouTube that you're going to see from now on in is just going to be Trump saying, it was the far left, it's far left, after being asked that question. And
Yeah, it
then
doesn't matter how
it's-
many times you said it before, but on a national debate, you know.
Yeah, you've got to still
openly-
say it.
You
You
got
got to
to
just say, and you have to make the moderator look absolutely stupid. He should have said, like, yeah, I said it before and I'll say it again. You know, like, I
Yeah.
said it that night. I said it the week after. You know, like.
It was
and then
like
if
2
he
days
asked-
later, yeah.
Yeah, I said it 2 days after what happened, and after he said, "Well, why 2 days?" Because that was definitely going to be the next question. It should have been like, because I needed to wait till all the facts were in, and then I waited till all the facts were in, and I said it. You know what I mean? So like, that's what you do. But the way he went, oh, it's the far left. It's just far left on his side. It's all left wing.
It sounds like deflection.
It was heavy deflection. The deflection is strong with this one.
I agree.
All right, so Jared, you basically agree with everything Zane said?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Trump said some things that made sense. Biden said at least one thing that made sense for sure. There's not a clear cut of Joe won this debate or Trump won this debate, because it was more of a old man argument session than a civil debate. But the rest of that stuff I absolutely agree with. He should have blatantly, with zero disregard, yes, I condemn white supremacy. But as we know, Chris didn't give him a super good chance to answer the question.
Yeah,
But-
he asked a really long question, and when Trump was about to answer, he kept his sentence going. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I actually, if I were to judge this debate on terms of points won, I'd probably have to give it to Trump. Just in terms
On
of points. Just in terms of points won.
You mean logic? You mean like logical debate points?
Yeah. Correct.
I agree.
Because
but if I'm going on a PR, but from your PR experience, who won the debate?
From the PR experience, I'd probably say Biden.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So in terms of like complete, if we're just going based off of logic and reason, Trump won this debate because he just made a better argument. Most of Joe Biden's points that he made were actually incorrect or completely false.
Yeah.
So
and he didn't make dementia moments. Like there was maybe one dementia moment.
There was one dementia moment, and that happened towards the end of the debate, which I kind of expected.
But it wasn't but it wasn't even big. You know,
it wasn't big. Exactly. It wasn't
very
big.
short. Yeah, it was maybe 10 seconds.
Yeah. So, in terms of overall points made, I'd probably have to give it to Trump. But in terms of PR, because Trump is Trump. He looked bad, especially at the beginning when he was continuously interrupting. When he was continuously interrupting Biden. A lot of suburban voters, especially suburban women, are going to be really turned off by that.
They're not gonna like him for that reason. Yeah, and the thing is like if you and that's the thing. You look at who did well with their base. Trump did well with his base there, but like when it came to winning new voters, he didn't do himself any favors. But I would argue that's actually what he needed to do, because here's the problem with this election. Okay, the problem with this election is you're not gonna see people. If you don't know who you're voting for, then you're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, people know who they're voting for.
Yeah.
Like, even this far out, and it's even worse than ever before. People know who they're voting for. Like, you know if you're voting for Trump or Biden.
People know who
There's no
voting
undecided
for 3
right
years
now.
ago.
Yeah, there's no undecideds in this election. So I think the debates are pretty pointless. I think the only thing that they do is they rally your base. So it gets more people pumped up to vote for you. So maybe Trump wins in the end with this performance, but I doubt it. Just because this is this thing that's going to be the thing to rally up the base of the Democrats, which is the segments where he wouldn't condemn white supremacy outright, and where he, at the end of the debate, he wouldn't say that he would allow for a peaceful transition of power.
Yeah, I mean, obviously those are points where Trump lost on, and I even said that while the debate was still on, that Trump.
But
Go ahead.
But do you understand what I mean? You understand what I mean by it may not lose him votes, but it's definitely going to help Biden get his voters pumped.
Yeah.
To vote.
Especially those people that are undecided are probably going to lean Biden.
Well, I don't think anybody's undecided.
Well, I think there's not a ton of people that are undecided, but again, if we look at Bush v. Gore in 2000, you have to look at
there were actual undecideds. Bush v. Gore.
But I think that if you don't think that there are 500 and at least 500 undecided voters in the state of Florida, I think you're kidding yourself. Because
undecided likely voters?
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly.
If you think there's not 500 undecided voters,
likely voters.
Undecided likely voters in the state of Florida, which has a population of 23-something million.
I'd have to look up the polls in Florida for likely voters too.
Well, as far as I know, I think I think Biden's up like 1-point-something% in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what decided the 2000 election. So
we'll just have to see. It's gonna be interesting. Next 4 or 5 months, or 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, I'm looking on 538. Hold on. General election. Yeah, it's within 2 percentage points.
Yeah.
Let's look at one with only likely voters. So this is with 500 likely voters.
Well,
so undecideds.
Yeah.
I'm certain
there are no undecideds.
Kids that have no idea what they're.
There are no undecideds. Percentage-wise, there's no undecideds.
But that might be because they're not trolling them, or not polling them.
I mean, this says there's like no undecided voters.
That's very interesting.
But one of the only polls that I've seen that measures likely voters versus overall population is Rasmussen, which is very friendly to Trump.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they did call the 2016 election very, very well in terms of...
in terms of accuracy.
In terms of accuracy, they did poll very well on the overall voting.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone know what day of the week November 3rd is?
What day of the week?
Yeah.
So 400, 620. Oh, here's the biggest one. This is St. Pete polls.
Oh, no.
November 3rd is a Tuesday.
This is the biggest. This is the biggest likely voter, and this was done on September 22nd. I'll tell you real quick who they voted for. I mean, who they
That was also a
said.
Tuesday. Just in case you're curious.
What's also a Tuesday?
I was just trying to see if I had to work or not during the election. I'm going to have to. I don't know how I'm going to work and pay attention at the same time.
Why is this?
What the hell?
Are you effing kidding me? Why is it showing me the 2016 election?
So already, just from what I'm seeing, someone already has pointed out that instead of condemning racists, Trump replied, "Stand back and stand by. I'll never forget that."
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
that's a big boo-boo in favor of
Yeah,
Trump, and
bad.
that's why I said
it was a big boo-boo.
So that's why I said, in terms of PR, Biden looked better. In terms of
He's gonna
total
have to make a
points made,
statement.
I think Trump looked better because most of Biden points, especially on the economy and COVID, he looked absolutely wrong.
That's why he should go on tomorrow.
He also
onto, like,
didn't answer a
thing.
question.
He should go on tomorrow to any given, like, even if it's Fox News,
Doesn't
and just
matter.
say, yeah, you know, like, I don't like. Obviously, I don't like white supremacy. Blah blah blah. He should definitely come out and say that.
He's got to, or he's going to lose the election. That,
I don't
that
think. I don't think
statement-
it's. I don't think it's a linchpin. I do
Oh,
think it's
no.
gonna hurt him, because they tried to use that thing last time. So
Oh, that's true.
like,
He is
I
gonna.
don't
I mean,
think-
he's gonna lose. He's gonna lose some votes for sure. He's gonna lose some votes, but
yeah, it doesn't excite me as a Republican voting for him. That's for damn sure.
yeah, not. Yeah, I don't.
Here we go.
Yeah.
You ready? So this says so Zach, this has a 1.6%, 1.6% error margin of error. Hold on.
Okay.
1.8% margin of error with a 95% confidence level. And it does say there's undecideds, but you're talking 2.3%, which could be
But
way
in
lower.
Florida, that's a lot.
No, across the country, that's a lot. 2.3.
Oh, you're talking about cross country, not...
I'm talking about Florida. Across the country, that's a lot. 2.3% is a lot.
The Babylon Bees already posted an article about Chris Wallace.
Now, what does it say?
Chris Wallace impartially questioned due to his giant foam finger reading Biden 2020.
Oh,
That's
Jesus
hilarious. And that's just, I mean...
Well,
that's
I
not
mean, to
totally
be fair,
true.
he
said he asked Biden some pretty tough questions too.
Yeah, he did.
Well,
like,
but
he wasn't
on
that bad.
okay, so he did ask Biden tough questions, but on the big questions that we wanted Biden to answer, he did not.
He was very soft. Yeah,
He
was
threw
very soft.
softballs at him every single time, and,
Yeah.
and that's what kind of pissed me off about Chris Wallace's debate moderating ability, is because we wanted Biden to answer the issue with defunding the police, and instead
Yeah.
of asking that, he asked the question about Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, this should scare you guys. This question in the Florida voting poll, this should make you guys really scared. So this question they asked in the result in the poll was: do you plan to vote by mail, to vote in person, or to not vote in the
People said by
November
mail.
general election? 50.4% said vote by mail.
Yeah, that's
49.6 said vote in person.
Bro, you have to take your ass to your polling station, dude. There's not a choice to be made.
Again,
That's horrible.
I've said this.
That's horrible.
Again, I've said this over and over again. Dr. Fauci has said numerous times that it is safe to vote in person.
Well, and here's the stupid thing. So you realize that question had 3 different choices, right? Vote by mail, vote in person, or not vote. Vote by mail, 50.4%. Vote in person, 49.6%. What does that mean, Zach? What does that mean, Zach?
Okay, so can you say the whole question?
There were 3 choices. I only listed you 2, and the percentages were 50.4 and 49.6. What does that tell you?
There's a lot of people want to vote.
No, it says every likely voter polled in this polling says they are going to vote in the November general election. Every
Means most people are going to
single
vote by mail.
likely.
In terms of complete population size.
I'm just saying every single likely voter. This is a 2000. This is like 2000. This is the most accurate likely voter poll. Every single likely voter in this poll is going to vote.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Which tells me that undecided thing, I don't believe it.
I disagree. Well,
I
again,
don't believe
because
that for a goddamn minute.
Because you have to look at the 2000 election between Biden and Bush and Gore, where you had a very small number of people determine the results of the 2000 election, and it was like I think it was 537 votes went. Or it was plus 537 votes for, not Trump. God damn it, for Bush. That turned the state of Florida for Trump. Oh my God.
You okay? You having your dementia moment?
I'm turning into Biden.
47 minutes for
47
years.
It was 500 and something votes that pushed the election for Bush. So again. Even if the polls are correct in that there's very, very little people that are undecided, that's probably true. There are very little people that turn the tide in terms of a state. But if you look at, for instance, Florida, 500 votes can mean quite a lot.
Yeah.
And that's not very
Trump's
many in terms of the total population.
Trump's gonna win Florida, boys.
Really?
What'd you say?
He's been going up.
Really?
Yeah, he hit his all-time low. He hit his all-time low around June, and he's been going up ever since. Went back down right before September, and now he's gone back up. And that's when he's within the 2 percentage points. And I'm looking here. Ipsos had a poll. Only likely voters, 47-47. ABC, Washington Post poll, registered voters, 48 Biden, 47 Trump. ABC, Washington Post likely voter poll, 47 Biden, 51% Trump.
Wow.
Okay, so
Change Research poll, 702 likely voters, 49% Biden, 46% Trump. And then you have those St. Pete polls that's the largest likely voter thing where it has 50% Biden, 47% Trump.
So I think it's crazy that ABC News Washington Post poll, like the smallest sample sizes seem, let me see, 539, 950. I think anything under 1,000 sample sizes.
I'm going to look up what Rasmussen sample sizes usually are.
Rasmussen sample size is likely voters 3,000. In their latest poll, it puts Biden +1 in terms of
national. But you got to remember that's national. Yeah, that's national. That's got to be 3,000. That can't be.
Yeah. But they have the highest, except for USC Dornsife. But the problem you also have is people lying to the people polling. And listen, I'm not here to say that people are constantly lying. So the 2 highest you have currently are USC Dornsife and Rasmussen at 3,000, and then USC Dornsife is 5,260 likely voters. It puts Biden 51-43 over Trump. The Rasmussen puts 48-47 Biden over Trump +1. So it depends on which one is correct, because if you get the +1, if it's +1 nationally, Trump wins. Probably a landslide, actually, if Rasmussen is correct on that Biden +1. But if it's a USD Dornsife Biden +8, Biden probably wins narrowly in terms of electoral college.
Electoral votes, yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at this. Rasmussen had a thing come out today saying voters attach less importance to this year's debates. The vast majority is likely to watch this year's presidential debates. It says the study finds that 88% likely U.S. voters are likely to watch this year's presidential debates, with 67% who are very likely to do so. And
so here's the thing for Trump, is that...
Hold on.
Go ahead.
And then it says the survey of 1,000 likely voters was conducted September 23rd to 24th. The margin of sampling error is plus or minus 3 percentage points. And then it says, hold on, see more. Come on. Oh my God, you have to subscribe. Fuck, Rasmus. Never mind. Oh, I'm not gonna pay for that shit. Anyway, they just said that voters attach less importance to this year's debates.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. But if you're looking from June 24th, or actually 23rd, Biden is plus 10.1. To now, Biden's only plus 6. So, I mean, I was listening to ABC, because I was also, obviously I was watching the ABC broadcast. I was listening to ABC talking about the Biden momentum coming into this debate, and they're down 4 points from June. In terms of overall, or actually since June 22nd, they're actually down 10.1 points from June 22nd. It's probably when they factored in a Rasmussen poll, because Rasmussen seems to favor Trump. But in actuality, when you look at Rasmussen polls in terms of the last election, they actually got the closest out of any to the actual voter turnout in terms of voting. So I believe they called it 2.1%, and Hillary Clinton won at like 2.2 in terms of overall votes. And that's not me saying that Rasmussen is the perfect poll, because I don't think any poll is a perfect poll. Because
so right now the no toss-up map gives Biden a 353 to 185 victory. So obviously Trump needs to flip.
Let me see. Can I see a map?
I don't believe that for a goddamn second. In Pennsylvania, Biden's killing Trump. I don't believe that.
I don't believe that at all. Unless Pennsylvania voters are actually retards, yeah. So I think Trump will actually take Florida. I think he takes Florida pretty hard, actually.
See, I definitely don't believe this. Because even though the RCP average has him at a spread of 5 percentage points, when CNBC did their poll, it was up by only 4. The only crazy ones have been the Washington Post poll and the New York Times poll have been crazy, like +9. Yeah, I don't believe that for
what I think it is, it's around... I think there's around 20... Because I just did the interactive map.
Yeah, Rasmussen has it as a dead tie.
Yeah.
It has him in a dead heat. I believe that.
So I actually believe there's about 28 states that are toss-ups. Now, Biden does have an advantage, I think. But I think Trump still has a pretty easy way to victory. He's just got to tell Pennsylvania voters that Biden does want to restrict fracking, which employs a lot of jobs. I'll be right back.
Toss up, yeah.
Very interesting.
I can't believe Texas counts as a toss up. That's insane.
Shut up.
How was that a toss up?
There's no way Texas is a toss up, dude.
Dude, he's on a +3 spread.
Yeah, that's stupid.
How do they label that a toss up? Dude, Real Clear Politics is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Because that's not a toss up.
That's crazy.
Georgia.
This is gonna be a crazy.
Well, I'm telling you right now, Georgia's voting Trump.
Well, yeah. You can pretty much bank on the South.
North Carolina might vote Trump, dude. That's crazy. If he wins North Carolina, that would be insane.
Wow.
He's got to win Wisconsin, Michigan. Let's go road to 270. The road to 270. All right. Yeah, this has Biden winning. So Biden's going to win Virginia. Let's just be honest.
Well, yeah.
Pennsylvania. So Trump wins Pennsylvania. So Trump is going to win Georgia. I think he is. All right. So Trump wins Georgia.
He's got to.
Trump wins Texas. What's Arizona at right now, Zach?
I think he stepped away.
He's going to win North Carolina, I think.
Sorry, I'm back.
All right, Zach. Who's winning Arizona right now of this moment?
I think Trump's going to win Arizona.
Well, what's the numbers, my friend?
I have not looked at it.
Look at it right now. I'm at two.
It's
I'm at
in
road
a
to
dead
270.
heat, according to RPC, and if it's in a dead heat, I'm gonna pick Trump.
Yeah, Trump's dead. Trump wins all dead heat races. That's my rule.
Yeah.
Florida
dead heat. It's like I think it's under 1% for
It's
1%.
Oh, we just looked it up. It would within 2 percentage points.
Yeah, I
so
think
that
Trump
is a dead
wins
heat.
that.
Trump wins Florida. Okay. Now it literally comes down to really 2 states. Okay. And this has Biden winning Wisconsin and Michigan. So it really comes down to Ohio. What's Ohio at right now?
Ohio was at a dead heat.
Look at it again.
Okay.
What is the actual percentage?
So Ohio has it at 3.3, and the three previous polls are +5, +1, +4.
For Biden?
For Biden.
Okay, I'm going to put that at Biden. Now, what about Pennsylvania? Oh, we already looked that up. I'm giving that to
Michigan. You want to see Michigan?
Yeah, give me Michigan right now.
Wait, 1 second. Michigan has Biden +5.
Damn. Oh, boy. What about Rasmussen? What did they report Michigan at?
Let me see.
They would have had one this month. They do all the states like every month.
Let me see. Rasmussen has Biden +8.
Oh boy.
Trafalgar has Trump +1 though.
I don't believe that one.
And so does and Trafalgar has Trump +2.
Yeah, but I think it doesn't have the R against the Trafalgar. I think that means it's a Republican polling service.
I think you're correct.
Okay, so I'm not listening to that. What about Wisconsin?
Give me 1 second.
So he would need to flip, just judging by this. If that's the case, so if he wins Pennsylvania, he wins Arizona, he wins North Carolina and Georgia and Florida, he needs to flip Michigan Wisconsin.
Okay, so
Michigan or Wisconsin.
I have an issue with Wisconsin's polling. So currently it is 5.5, but the two most recent polls put it at +2 Biden and +3 Biden. There's an NBC News Marist poll.
What's the sampling error?
Of each of the polls, or what do you want to know?
Yes. Yeah, on those polls. Those polls that you just cited, the 2 and 3.
Oh, the 2 and 3.
Uh-huh.
1 second.
What's the sampling error? Because if the sampling error is 3%, I'm flipping it right now. And then it's Trump victory.
Oh, god damn it. 1 second. Is it Minnesota?
No, Wisconsin.
Margin of error, there are 2 polls. One is by Susquehanna, that is 4.3. The other is
Are you
by
serious?
Yeah, the other is by Trafalgar, and that is 2.8.
And those are the polls?
Those
that
are the
you
2
were
most
saying was-
recent. So the one I have an
Wow.
issue with is the NBC News Marist, which puts Biden +10, which is completely out of
Bullshit.
line with the other polls.
That's the outlier.
Yeah, that's the outlier.
yeah.
Them and the CSNBC
Well,
change
the
research.
thing is, anytime you see the CNN or MSNBC, what happens is the voter who hears that, hey, I'm so-and-so with the polling for the blah, 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 they hang up. You know what I
That's
mean?
correct, yeah, probably. Yeah.
So anyway, so that puts Trump. So all that happening puts Trump at 271. So Trump again, Texas. Oh, so sorry. Out of the toss-ups, Florida, Arizona, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. That's all he has to win.
Florida, Pennsylvania,
North Carolina,
and Wisconsin.
and Arizona.
And Arizona.
Yeah, that's it. And he wins.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
But if one of those states flips,
Because the crazy thing about the Arizona polling is it's so sparing.
mm-hmm.
I think they have Biden at 2.8 right now.
Somebody just
2.8.
tweeted.
But
Somebody just tweeted.
I
Just
mean-
confirmed. Debate number 2 is a fist fight in a Chili's parking lot.
What?
Somebody just confirmed the
Debate number 2 is just a fist fight in a Chili's parking lot.
That's great.
I fucking love that.
So-
love Twitter.
So I
to
follow a
see
lot
sports,
of libertarians on Twitter.
I do not.
And according to Liberty Twitter, now most of these people are going to vote Joe Jorgensen regardless. They're going to vote for Joe Jorgensen no matter what happened in this debate. But Trump won the debate according to Liberty Twitter, 88%.
That's tough.
Wow, I can't believe that.
I don't know.
I don't know about that, dude.
That's according to Liberty Twitter. Now, most of these people are going to vote Joe Jorgensen regardless. So, take that with a
huge grain of salt.
A stalactite of salt.
Okay.
But
Not a stalagmite, bro.
no, stalagmites fucking suck.
Yeah. I just wanted to confirm.
I'm also looking at Twitter and someone asked, actually it's at Texas Libertas, Suburban Commando said, what page of human action is a K-shaped recovery?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't even know what that means either. That's retarded.
I've just been watching Ben Shapiro's tweets. It's been very, very interesting.
Ben Shapiro's tweets. I can look at.
Yeah, they've been pretty interesting for the most part. He's been like, he hasn't really been as outspoken as I'd want him to be this evening, but
I'm surprised. Wait, they did a. Actually, it's probably because I believe they did a live stream. I could be incorrect.
did they really?
I thought they were going to, but I'm not sure.
Did Steven Crowder?
Steven Crowder.
I'm sure Steven Crowder did.
Steven Crowder absolutely did.
I
I decided not to watch him because he tends to interrupt debates quite often. And even though we did too, I didn't want our interruptions to also be his interruptions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very interesting. Yeah, I'm interested to hear his take on it. Well, also good news, Bryson Tiller just released new music. I don't know if you guys are Bryson Tiller fans, but
I don't even know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
Oh gosh. Okay.
All right. Well, it's been fun, boys. I'm gonna go ahead and jump off.
You're gonna jump off?
I'm gonna jump off. Jump off this trampoline.
Okay.
You know,
Alright.
I'm just
very fun, very
jumping on a
informative.
trampoline. You know.
Let's
Isn't that how the
come
song
back
goes?
for. I have
I've
no
never.
idea.
What song are you referring to?
You know, I've been having dreams. You know, jumping on a trampoline. Sleeping, I'm falling. Yeah.
Yeah, you lost me, but I have no idea.
Isn't that the song?
I have no idea.
Something to happen. I've been having dreams. Isn't that it?
Dude, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Life's hard. All right. See you, boys. Nice.
See ya.
Hey, Zach. Part 2. Debate number 2. We have to run this back. That was very fun.
Yeah, no, I'm totally down.
I'm very down. I'm gonna go to sleep because I have to work tomorrow.
Alrighty.
But it was very fun. Thank you for having me on your stream.
All right, thanks for coming on, man.
It was very fun. We'll talk to you later.
Yep, see you later.
Bye.
So it was an interesting debate. I mean, there was a lot of shenanigans that went on. Again, as I said before, the debate kind of went, I think, in terms of suburban voters, they're probably going to lean towards Biden on this one, just because he was far more polite than Trump. But, again, that is what we expected from Donald Trump, because he is Donald Trump. But in terms of logical points made, I think Trump made far more logical points than Joe Biden. Joe Biden outright lied a lot of the times. And again, we called it out when we saw it in the debate when either candidate lied. It was actually funny. I did not expect the what is it, Charlottesville hoax to come up, the Fine People hoax to come up during the debate, because I thought that was a losing point for Biden. But Biden went straight into that, and it was actually pretty interesting to see him come on and actually perpetuate that myth that Trump said there are very fine people on both sides when he was talking about neo-Nazis. He actually did come out and say that the white supremacists and neo-Nazis should be condemned totally during the Charlottesville thing. Whoa. I've had a lot to drink tonight, so you're going to have to forgive me. Okay, a little bit. But, so that was interesting to see Biden run straight into a wall. And that's why I said Joe Biden didn't necessarily perform super well during that debate. So again, when I look at the debate in terms of logical points made, it has to go to Donald Trump. But if I'm looking at terms of PR, Trump looked much worse. And PR matters to mostly suburban voters, people that are undecided and maybe are thinking, I'm leaning one way or the other, but this debate could potentially change my mind. Donald Trump actually did very poor in that regard. So even though Joe Biden, I think, lied a lot more and a lot more egregiously with that regard, Trump looked a lot worse in terms of how he presented himself. So Trump needs to, in this election cycle, to present himself as someone who can solve the problems, who can bring the country together during all this social conflict and social strife. And even though I thought in terms of a debate strategy, in terms of logical points made, Trump made himself look better on those points, Joe Biden actually looked better to the suburban voter, which is who Donald Trump needs to win. So actually, if I were to rate this debate fairly, in terms of practical importance, I'd probably give it to Joe Biden. But if I were looking only at logical fallacies or only logical points made by either candidate, I'd actually have to point to Trump, which is actually surprising. I expected Donald Trump to come out very, 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 I want to say aggressive, but he did come out aggressive. I expected Donald Trump to come out as a very, I expected him to come out much more calmly. He needed to be calm and aggressive, which is a tough balance. It's a tough balancing act to make, but he needed to make it tonight. And I don't think he did, which made it very, very difficult for him to then later make points that could potentially bring people to his side. And again, I want to say I don't really have a dog in this fight. I'm going to be honest with everyone here. I'm leaning towards voting Donald Trump. My second vote, if I had one, would be toward Jo Jorgensen. My problem is that Jo Jorgensen hasn't gotten on the debate stage. And I completely agree with Liberty Twitter in saying that Jo Jorgensen should be on the debate stage. She hasn't been polled for by most of these polling outlets. In fact, all the ones that they've counted, she hasn't been polled for. And to say that she doesn't qualify for the debates when she wasn't polled for these specific debates makes it a very, very, very big problem. I'm a pragmatic person. So with my libertarian values that I hold, I look toward the candidate that least involves government in the way they want to run the country. The problem with Jo Jorgensen, and the problem I see with voting Jo Jorgensen, even though that's where my heart lies, because I actually, I've listened to her interviews, I've listened to her talk, I've looked at her, policy propositions. The problem I find is in terms of a pragmatic solution. And I'm not saying that you have to vote a certain way or a certain other, because I think it's really dumb for people who are libertarian not to vote for the libertarian candidate when there is a libertarian candidate for the election. I look as my vote as, what can I do to sway the vote in either way that'll either help me or hurt me? And I'm 1,000% honest on this always. The candidate I support, the only one I've ever donated to, is Jo Jorgensen, who is a libertarian candidate for president in the United States. The candidate I expect to vote for is probably Donald Trump, unfortunately. And it isn't unfortunate. It's kind of a hold your nose vote, which I hate to do. I wish that I was in a state like California or New York, where my vote matters almost not at all. But in Florida, where, again, I mentioned 1,000 times in the post-debate conversation that the 2000 election between Al Gore and George W. Bush, was decided by less than 1,000 votes. It makes it really hard for me to choose a minor party candidate, because I believe, whether right or wrong, and you can try to convince me otherwise, but I believe that if I'm not voting for someone who more closely resembles my interests, I am ultimately hurting the cause that I claim to support. It's a very difficult situation that I find myself in Florida. For instance, if I was in North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, any of those states, I'd feel much more comfortable voting for Jo Jorgensen. But in a state like Florida, where actually every vote counts, it makes it much more difficult on the electorate to vote for a candidate outside of the major two parties to succeed. So I'm trying to explain myself as best as possible. I mean, if you have any issues with the way I've explained the way I expect to vote in this election, I mean, I'd love for you to reach out to me on Twitter. On Twitter, my Twitter ad is @ZacharyEditor. So I'm just trying to find someone to talk about my thoughts on this debate overall. And I do have a lot of libertarians following me on Twitter, and that's probably most of my followers on Twitter are libertarian. If you don't follow me on libertarian, here is my Twitter @. It is @ZacharyEditor right here. Why is that going? Very odd. Again, my Twitter is @ZacharyEditor. If you want to follow me on Twitter and talk to me, completely open to hearing conversation. So, and again, the way I see it is, in terms of points made, Trump won the debate. But in terms of public relations, in terms of everything I understand about people, I think Biden won the debate. Because unfortunately, humans are creatures of... PSA Sitch puts it in a way that that I actually agree with. There's an elephant and there's a rider. So the elephant is your core, your inner feeling, like your feelings drive you, and then the rider justifies your feelings by creating a logical reason for those feelings. I can't type, guys. Libertarian. So, yeah. Obviously a weird debate. Yeah, you could have had Tulsi Gabbard, America. I agree. Tulsi Gabbard would have killed Donald Trump in this debate. I don't know anything about this. I want to say before bed is I don't care who you vote for. All I want for you is votes. All I want for you. I want to say before bed is I don't care who you vote for. All I want is for you want to watch my videos and disable that pesky ad block. Love you all. That was a glorified Twitch debate. Absolutely. Joanhead's correct. I think both candidates is great. I'm really excited that we have these two great choices. Although a bit agonizing, we can each only pick one. Conceptual James. I've tried. Took a minute. I received the following upline. As tight as possible. Here. Too academic. I need a haircut. I look coerced. I'm reading, not speaking. Only the last part, which is I think you're smoking hot. That would tell you. Okay, I'm trying to look for debate. Shit. That debate was the most visceral, unpleasant 2 hours of television I can ever recall having watched. Very true. Remind me again why Jorgensen, who isn't on the ballot in 50 states, shouldn't be in this debate. That's a great question. I actually think if she was in this debate, it would have really calmed things down. Because you would have had a candidate on there who doesn't play party politics. Although she is elected by a party, she doesn't necessarily play party politics. And I think that would have been very necessary. Biden defending critical race theory. Fuck this guy. Big Red. Love this guy. At Big Red Talk. If you want to follow him on Twitter, do that. Yikes. But Trump didn't rehearse, and it shows the very fine people thing was disproven, but he let it slide. He didn't effectively reject critical race theory for the trash mass Marxism that it is. This could have been a landslide, but Trump failed. I totally agree. I said this at the time during the debate. If you didn't catch it, Trump was asked about the very fine people thing, and unfortunately, Chris Wallace kind of inserted himself in this debate. And he kept asking questions when Trump kept trying to answer the question about will you condemn neo-Nazis and white supremacists. And Trump was going to say sure, but instead, Chris Wallace kept talking about the topic, and Trump said that the Proud Boys should stay there, stay still and stay prepared, which makes him sound like he's supporting the Proud Boys or a white supremacist group, which it has been disproved multiple times that the Very Fine People hoax was a hoax. Dinesh D'Souza tweeted, Chris Wallace obviously thinks he is being cool and intelligent when he is only being self-important and smarmy. I disagree. Dinesh D'Souza is a right-wing commentator, so you can expect him to be aggressive to the moderator when he is constantly having to tell Trump to shut his mouth because Trump couldn't shut up. But Chris Wallace was doing his best. At times he went overboard, actually towards both candidates. But I think ultimately Chris Wallace did an okay job. It wasn't the best moderation I've ever seen. It definitely wasn't the worst. But I think he did okay. I want to see... you already read that. Did anyone change their mind or make a decision on who they were voting for after watching the video? I mean, in terms of total logic, again, I'm not going to answer this poll question, but move to Trump, move to Biden, move to Canada. After watching the debate, again, I think Trump did better in terms of overall points. Biden did better in terms of public relations in terms of. After this debate, I think Biden picked up more suburban voters. Let's keep going down my Twitter thread. Andy No tweeted, Rose City Antifa is a group. Antifa 7 Hills is a group. Antifa Sacramento is a group. Antifa Atlanta Anti-Fascist is a group. Youth Liberation Front is a group. There are many, many Antifa groups, and they are violent. This is correct, and there are many more. That is true. I believe Biden was the one that said Antifa is an idea, not a group. And then that's when Andy No tweeted that. 1 second. The Biden campaign calls a lid halfway through the first question. Obviously, that's fake. I feel like Joe won by sheer virtue of not seeming like an angry child, but honestly, it was just an embarrassing display. The people think America is a laughingstock for a million different reasons, but we just saw exactly why. Just a glorified reality show with a lame cast. Chris Ray Gun, who I really like in terms of the content he produces or has produced in the past, yeah, he's exactly right. So Joe Biden just won based on him not interrupting Trump as much as Trump interrupted him, and that made him look better in terms of suburban votes than he did in terms of actually correct answers and not avoiding questions. So I think Biden won in terms of PR, Trump won in terms of actually answering questions. So I think Biden won overall. So I'll use Lou. Fox News is straight up propaganda network. Hashtag debate swing. That's Bobby Malik. Totally unlike dozens of left-wing media organizations. Yes, that's... So, Trump... So, again, Fox News is obviously going to portray a right-wing perspective, and pretty much everywhere else is going to portray a left-wing perspective. ABC, NBC, MSNBC is always going to be a left-wing perspective. CNN, they're always going to be a left-wing perspective. Daily Wire, who's ready for the next presidential debate 2020? God, I don't know if I can handle drinking this much. I might die before I'm 25. I just turned 23, by the way. It's September 4th. Adam at Amplify Liberty. He's actually one of my favorite follows on Twitter. Is anyone talking about the correlation between U.S. high obesity rates and the COVID-19 hospitalization / ICU admissions and death? We're not screaming at each other over masks. Maybe we could have a conversation about diet, exercise, and general healthier living. This is actually something that came up in my first Devil's Advocate show that you can watch on YouTube. I'm working on getting it on podcast platforms. But yeah, this is a serious issue. When you talk about diet, exercise, healthier living, not being obese, it turns out that a large majority of COVID-19 deaths have been attributed to obesity and underlying health conditions. So this is something that we need to talk about. But again, it's a lot. George at Suburban Commando at Texas Liberty. George Jorgensen did a great job tonight. Hope she can capitalize on the momentum. Yeah, she wasn't in the debate, and I think she performed best. Joe20.com is crashing due to a high volume of traffic. That's actually interesting. Is that true? Let me see. Can I go to that? That's Just Mears at Just for Liberty. I'll be right back, folks. All right. So the Joe20.com came up perfectly for me. Let me look at our issues tab and see if that came up any differently. She still... As far as I can tell... Granted, this was tweeted 3 hours ago. So... Oh god, I'm hiccuping so hard. Jake Tapper calls debate a hot mess inside a dumpster fire inside a train wreck. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was just the worst. It's another retweet of the Joe20.com is crashing due to high volume. Which I have found to be true. At least right now. Alright, that's going to end the stream. Thank you guys, whoever... Wow, damn. For watching. Thank you. Oh god. hiccuping a lot. So thank you all for watching. Goddamn. I will see you guys. I will probably do the same thing for the next presidential debate. And I will see you next time.